Hello everyone, I am Tacet and welcome to the Gems of War stream. My setup's a little bit weird right now because I'm eating a bunch of leftovers and it's taking up so much room on this desk right now. But, yeah, of course, our main objective today is to go and do a bunch of vault events. So, yeah, or a bunch of vault event, as in go do a bunch of explore basically. There's two reasons for this. One is, well, that's one of the quicker ways of actually getting everything accumulated, since we can just instantly win battles pretty much with quick kill teams, and just keep getting a bunch of gnomes killed from there. But the other is, we actually have an event objective to go do it anyways, so we're already getting some extra resources. Currently my lowest trait stone is Pride Land, so we're mainly going to be starting off here. Obviously, one of our other indirect main goals, or actually technically direct, is starting to get Sentinel to level 100. Pretty close on there, so that's going to be what we're heading towards. And yeah, pretty much just going to go from there. I guess we'll have our first redeem code or our only redeem code probably to stream once we get our first vault key, and go from there. And I wasn't able to finish all before we started to stream, and I didn't want to delay it even more. But I'm pretty much just finishing leftovers from Easter, oddly enough. Just some spare deviled eggs and some turkey sandwiches, basically. Some of the leftovers from Easter. Normal deviled eggs, not colored or anything. We don't bother coloring our eggs for Easter. Just normalish eggs. Okay, if anyone has any questions, let me know. We'll make sure to get around to it. Otherwise, main goal is farm all the vault keys. Also, I didn't go over the daily thingy, or the deal. The flash deal right now actually is really good value. Let me go show it real quick. Yeah, you've been looking for one of the flash deals. The one that's currently up is actually really good. It has been, it's either tied at the best or the best flash offer they ever have. 100 gems and a vault key for only $2. That's a pretty decent amount of resources. For one, that gem amount already comes out to be higher. Sometimes it's like 450 gems for $5. This is, I mean, for $10, I mean, comes out to 500 gems for the same price. Other than that, 5 vault keys is obviously very, very good value. While vault keys can vary quite a bit, on average, I would say a vault key's value is at around 80 gems or so. You could easily get plenty of drops that are worth over 100 gems, or even multiple hundreds of gems, like a major purple or something like that, which is worth about 675 gems potentially if you're in late game. So, yeah, there's quite a few good drops there. There's literal 100 gem drop off it, 250 gems, stuff like that. Cedric if you don't already own him. Also, this weekend in general, if you don't already own Cedric, great time to be farming vault keys, because probably get a Cedric if you don't already. But yeah, flash offer is decent this time around, so if any of you are into spending money, definitely don't feel obligated to it. You could farm way more than that probably this weekend just from actually playing the game. Also, can you hear me correctly on the mic? I have like a really weird setup right now as far as where my mic is. You bought all the flash offer as soon as you saw it. They have had this flash offer before. It almost seems like they're running that every vault event now. So there's a glory gnome. Pretty much the best gnome we can get. Unless something drops as a vault key, every single drop off this thing is just insane. Like 500 glory. What am I eating? Oh, I'm eating leftover turkey and leftover deviled eggs from Easter. Pretty much the last of the leftovers. That is what I'm eating. Actually surprised it lasted that long as well. Yeah, 5 days. Also, I didn't even say hello to everyone. What am I doing? Hello, Haley. Hello, Cujo. Hello, Zeddicus. Hello, September Blick. Hello, Starlight. Hello, Elite Gaming. Let's see. Hello, Skeleton King. Hello, Frag Hunter. Hello, Churros. Hello, Mr. Jesse. Hello, Earthbound. Managed to pull a Stonehammer off of 20 gem keys. Very nice. Hello, Birdleaf. Hello, Javier. And hello, everyone else. Welcome. I'll throw that down for now. Hello, Firecrest. Hello, Moon Dancer. Welcome. Yeah, Nintendo Switch currently has never had a flash offer. And to my understanding, I don't believe console gets flash offers either, which is kind of weird. I don't know why, but they don't. You're level 440 and still don't have Sunburn? Yeah, you can get sometimes really unlucky with the ultra rare. If you still don't have it, keep an eye out for red or purple summoning gems. Those can have Sunbird at a 1 in 8 chance. Other than that, just keep opening Glory and gem keys. You'll get it eventually. I don't think a Sunbird event's coming around anytime soon, though. So you won't be able to get it off of event keys. But Glory and gem are, gonna give it to you eventually. I know when I first started the game, we got every ultra rare in the game. Or before I got the most important rare at the time in the entire game, which was Alchemist. And the reason he was so important at the time was battles used to cost gold. And the only real way to keep up with that gold cost was basically by putting an Alchemist on your team. They eventually removed that aspect of the game. But at the time, Alchemist was basically the meta. And I got every ultra rare in the game before I even got an Alchemist, which was a gigantic fail. And Alchemist, of course, being a rare, not an ultra rare. Despite it being lower rarity. I had every ultra rare in the game prior to it. Which was super annoying. But it happens. Yeah, generally one of your biggest goals when you first start out in Gems of War is get every single kingdom to level 10 and then use your excess gold from having all the kingdoms now upgraded to try to find a guild that gets all tasks completed per week. That's pretty much the first objective you want to do when you first start out. Because completing out every single task is just insanely good value per week. Anything less than that is basically getting less resources per week. And most guilds aren't too bad of a requirement for it. There's guilds as low as 300,000 gold requirement per week that can get them all done. Hello, Phantom. Welcome. I was not sure if anyone mentioned it earlier. Is audio still fine when I'm talking like this? Let me know. Because the mic's right over here. So I'm talking like almost the exact opposite direction of it. I think it's still picking up fine though. So let me know. I assume so, because no one's mentioned anything yet. Might be slightly quieter than normal. Yeah, Ingot Gnome would be really good. Especially if it actually had a decent tendency of dropping epic ingots. Actually, given that what my setup currently is, I have been considering just getting a better webcam with a better camera and mic and everything. so I wouldn't actually have to deal with a mic while live streaming. The only problem is most of them run in like the couple $100 range. I was actually pricing them last night. The one I was looking at, I believe it was like about 180 or so. Not sure if I'll get it or not. But it would make it so I have a backup webcam, and it will also make it so I wouldn't have to keep worrying about a mic in this new setup area. It wouldn't replace my mic in all instances. Obviously, I would still do like Monday videos and pretty much any recorded video with the mic. But for streaming, it'd be slightly more, actually, convenient. Hello, Johnny, and thank you. Haha. How old is my laptop, though? Isn't that priority? That is, to a degree. I just honestly don't know what I want to upgrade to, is the main issue with that. Because that's a really big investment compared to just getting a webcam or something. But yeah, this laptop is currently 6 years old. Or almost 6 years old. In a couple months, it'll be 6 years old. That works perfectly fine, though. Because most issues with the stream are probably more often than not with the streaming software, which I will be changing in the very, very near future. By very, very near future, I probably mean in like the next few days. Just haven't had the time to transfer it all over yet. But very soon. And other than that, my connection. Like, those are the two biggest things that are actually making the stream quality bad more often than not. Very occasionally, this computer does overheat some because, well, the laptop. The cooling system inside is not the greatest. But, I don't know, other than that, there really isn't much of an issue with it yet. And its keyboard is beyond repair. But, I don't know, the laptop still seems pretty healthy. Hey, level 91 Sentinel, 9 more levels to go, we're almost there. And by almost, I mean we're like, 3.5 to 4 hours away, probably more towards 4. I'm not sure if we're doing all of that right now, though. We might, who knows. I am eating now, so we're not going to need to take a food break. Now, almost every issue we have so far has been pretty much with either connection, specifically, or just overheating. Which used to be a problem, like, a lot about, a year or so ago, but that was mainly because, of how hot my room was. But I did recently, actually just this week, I just got finished, what, yesterday? 2 days ago? Yeah, 2 days ago. The ventilation system I finally got fixed from when it got just damaged during what was it during hurricane but I keep forgetting what the name of that hurricane was. The one last last one that hit during September. But finally got that fixed the other day. So now we finally have AC for summer. Which is good because that means this computer won't be overheating as much. Because obviously if the room is a lot hotter, then it's gonna overheat even quicker. Got a normal gnome. Also, we will be opening every vault key immediately. If we get a vault key. And as I mentioned, we'll have a redeem code on first vault key. And of course, all he drops is 100 souls. Fail. Hope you don't end up needing a nap with all that melatonin. Oh no, I shouldn't. I just woke up. Didn't get too much sleep last night, but I can take a nap after. I normally do like midday naps, though. Midday naps are amazing. Probably one of the nicest benefit of being self-employed is you can literally take a midday nap whenever you want. Pretty much. Which is always fun. Let's see. Let's move that for now. No problem, more Barashi. I'm actually going to be doing another video on that very soon as well. By very soon, I mean, probably today or tomorrow. But, because it's been about a month now, so I kind of wanted to go over, the full early game experience again. Just as far as, like, actual first hand, because we just did a first hand, of course. And, then going over, mid-game stuff. Since quite a few people on Nintendo Switch are probably reaching mid-game now. Or very close to it. Mid-game is basically everything between 10-star or level 10 all kingdoms and 5-star all kingdoms. Excuse me. Basically what I consider mid-game. Early game takes about 100 to 200 hours to get to level 10 all kingdoms. Then mid-game takes like 500 to 1,000 hours to get 5-star all kingdoms, give or take. Oh yeah, normally when you run difficulty, you should always be running on normal. Ever so occasionally, if you're using a soul farming team, you'll up it to hard, just for that 25% extra souls for only 10% extra difficulty. But more often than not, you just keep it at normal. I don't think I have ever shifted my Nintendo Switch account to any difficulty but normal. Even when I was using Dragon Soul, which is normally a time that you would actually up it. But, no, you pretty much just keep it on normal forever. Even right now, if you check our difficulty, we're playing on normal. Even though we have, like, infinite stats, we are still playing on normal difficulty. There is very, very few instances where upgrading difficulty is actually worth it. Yeah, we're playing on normal right now, yet we have the highest possible stats pretty much in the entire game. The only thing we're missing is +1 attack. Have soon. But that doesn't really affect anything, since most of our damage, or all of our damage, is coming from casting. Even with literal max stats, we don't bother the difficulty. Because there's really no point. Because it's not even going to boost the gnomes that we get either, during something like a vault event. It only ends up increasing like these resources and stuff, so like whatever gold we get, whatever souls we get, and whatever EXP we get, basically. And the only time it's ever really worth it is for soul farming teams. That or EXP farming, but it depends where you're doing it at. Both of which you don't really need to worry about too much. Generally, once you have a Dragon Soul, you'll passively be able to gain souls over time automatically by having a Dragon Soul in various teams. And prior to that, you could be using Valkyrie, which is a really common to obtain rare. And other than that, you can just run occasional arena runs, but you normally don't really need to go out of your way to soul farm. The only time you ever really need to do that is to get Dawnbringer. It is a pretty decent mythic weapon. Actually, technically the only mythic weapon as far as ones that actually cover 3 colors. But, it's about the only time you ever really go out of your way for soul farming. In most other instances, you can just get them passively. Not go out of your way at all. For Tower of Doom 25 plus, can you suggest improvements for Yasmin Pride Titan? Yagwe, Suna, and the Possessed King?
Probably replace Suna for something. Trying to think what. Let's see. You're basically using Suna as Queen Titania since you can't use Queen Titania. Let's see. I guess you would replace out Suna with, I guess you would just do it with a boost ratio troop then. You have that Spirit Walker thing, that green-blue that they end up adding, and only hits one troop. Instead of, the one and then two adjacents. But his mana cost is like half, so it makes up for it in that way. Yeah, putting something like Spirit Walker over Suna I think would be okay. Otherwise, you're basically running with Yagweh as your only damage source. And if he goes down, you lose. You can't really depend on Suna to get kills that late in Delves. It's going to be way too slow. For the last week, your tributes have mostly been in the single digits. Kingdoms are nearly maxed. Have you been on the official, unofficial, or was there an unofficial announcement on it? I have noticed some of my tributes have been slightly lower this week. I thought it was just a coincidence. No, I don't believe they nerfed it at all. Yeah, I have noticed that my tributes are slightly lower this week. Sometimes unintentionally stuff happens with the servers that will sometimes make it worse. But more often than not, it's just coincidence. I don't know, we'll go see what our next tribute is. Forget what the previous one this morning. I think it was like an 8 or a 9 or something. Which is a little bit lower, but not really that low. It's still a ridiculously high tribute. I'm just used to seeing them in double digits. There's a weird glitch with guild bonus percent. I have noticed that the percents have been a little bit wonky. That is true. Because the way that it gets calculated kind of changed? Kind of? I'm not even sure exactly. Like something happened with it that made it different. So it almost seemed like it was beneficial to the player the way it was. But it was calculating differently. Okay, we got another arcane. The whole reason we're even in this kingdom right now is this is our lowest arcane at the moment. Pure red arcane. Probably also one of the more useless arcanes, but need it nonetheless. Whenever they add a trait stone sync later this year, it might actually be useful to have every arcane, so we're getting every arcane just in case. And if it doesn't matter what specific arcane, then we have like infinite arcane lights, because I think we're sitting on like 800 something arcane lights because of Warrens. Gems of War does have a anti RNG aspect to the board, which might be one of the reasons why it looks like the board gets lucky for the player sometimes. Basically how they have it set up is the game is trying to set up in a way that the AI will basically never be luckier than the player. However, if the player is getting really lucky, the AI will also get very lucky, more often than not. So for example, if you randomly pull like a 4 times into a 5 times, the AI is probably just randomly going to pull 5 times. Because it's capped basically at your luck, but if you get a lot of luck, then the AI will too, more often than not. And that doesn't affect when you're trying to specifically get into a, like for example, it's not going to affect if we take this brown, it's not going to affect the chance that a red falls there. However, what it would affect is clumping of gems, where, like, multiple of the same one falls down.
got 12 Vault keys so far. Hasn't even been 12 hours. That is insanely lucky. How long have you been farming for? Because that is insanely good luck. Anything above 1 per hour is insanely good luck. Even 1 per hour is probably good luck with it. Currently, we're about half an hour in with 0. And it looks like we're keeping it that way, apparently. Yeah, it's only been out for, what, 8 hours and 43 minutes. Having 12 already is insanely lucky. Especially if you haven't been farming all 8 hours. I think there are people that do that, by the way. I would never do it that often. Or that much. But I'm pretty sure there are people that do the Vault event on the weekend for like, probably like 50 plus hours or something. That's just too much. I think the average amount of time I put into a Vault event is normally 15 to 20 hours on the weekend. Across the 3 days. Obviously not each day. Just across the 3. Oh, I've been doing it since the event started. Okay, that makes a little bit more sense. Still really lucky, though. 12 keys within 8.5 hours is insanely good. Yeah, definitely a great time to be playing, that's for sure. If there was any time to be playing the game, these 3 days are the days to be playing. Because you get more loot for doing everything. And I normally use this time to start leveling hero classes more often than not. Which we've been slowly chipping up. And obviously right now we're working on Sentinel to max. Yeah, I would say on average, people spend probably about 6 hours per day on it. If I was to give an average. So I don't know if we have data on that. So they do. They definitely do. Too bad they don't share it with us. I'm actually really curious what the increase in playtime is during a Vault event compared to any other time of the month. Also, Gargantor, that one mythic that was just on the opposing team, is still by far like the worst mythic in the entire game. I'm not sure why they made it so bad. What was even worse about it, it was the first mythic of 2018. Yeah, right? Yeah, 2018. Which was horrible because wasn't anything exciting to start off the year with. And this year was supposed to start a lot more excitingly as well. We ended up getting Suna instead. But we were originally supposed to get High King Iron Gut as the first mythic of this year. But they ended up doing it as the last mythic of last year instead. But that would have been an insanely good first mythic of the year. Iron Gut's basically just delve meta at this point. He's so good. Still pretty average for things like PvP and stuff, but from a delve perspective, he is pretty much the entirety of the meta. That and Zugoff essentially can solo any delve in the game. And some delves can use both as well. What is the best way to get Sunbird? Use Glory keys and gem keys and hope you get lucky. There are 2 other methods to obtain it as well. However, both of them are dependent on if it's actually available. One is if it's in the event key drop table. However, I don't believe we have an event for anytime soon. So you can scratch that option off. But the other one to keep an eye out for, if you still don't have it after the next few weeks, is every week, check what's under red and purple. And if it's here, you'll have a 1 in 8 chance of getting it per thing that you open. You just keep opening them until you get a Sunbird.
But yeah, if you see Sunbird on red or purple, you only need 2 colors because that's the colors it uses. If you see them here underneath the ultra rares, it's 1 in 8 chance that you could get it per summoning stone. But yeah, generally, glory gem and guild chests are how you're going to obtain your Sunbird. It's a completely random drop, but opening a couple hundred on either should likely yield you a Sunbird eventually. Like, it's not that rare of a drop at all. Sometimes you can get trolled by not getting a specific ultra rare that you need for a while. Actually, I believe our Nintendo Switch account's still missing an ultra rare if I'm not mistaken. Not a useful one though, luckily. But and it's already like level 600, 700 something. Yeah, I believe it's still missing an ultra rare. It's not Sunbird though. Anyways, where were we? Exploring? You keep changing the place that you farm. I'll probably be doing that soon. I normally do it based on getting the trait stone to a certain amount, and then I switch to a different one. Speaking about High King Iron, there he is. No problem, Poker. If anyone still has any other questions, let me know, because we'll be here a while. Actually, did I ever break down how long it's actually going to take us? Let's see, will we do it all right now? Let's see. Let's just break it down to around 90 times the... that's not the right number. 90 times 9 at this point. That comes out to 810, divide that by 180. Yeah, 4.5 hours. Isn't that how much exactly I said it would take earlier? 4.5 hours? Yeah, it's actually 4.5 hours, pretty much on the dot. Assuming we win 3 per minute. So it looks like we won't do all of that necessarily on this stream. But that does seem like we'd be able to get it done by the end of the day then. Most likely. Because we'll probably do about another 3 hours now. We'll do at least a half an hour during the stream later. And then I would just need to throw down another hour between then. Or just finish it all tonight of whatever's left, regardless. Yeah, I think we can get Sentinel 100 tonight. Because by the end of the stream, it'll be like, what, 96, 97 or so? Probably more towards 97. It'll be like 96 and a half. Yeah, location technically has no effect on drop rate. Though it definitely feels like it sometimes. Because you go like 3 hours with none in one, and then switch over to another kingdom and just randomly get it within like 2 battles or something. But it doesn't technically have any effect. It just feels like it sometimes. There's another arcane. We might almost be to the point where we don't even need to farm this kingdom anymore. We're getting really close to, what is it, base 350? It's base 350. It was either that or base 400. I forget where we're even heading towards as far as base arcanes. Numbers are just starting to get so high that starting to lose track. I believe we're heading to base 350 right now as far as arcanes. And the only reason I still worry about them is because we have no clue what their trait stone sync is going to be. We know they're adding a trait stone sync later this year. However, we have no clue whatsoever how hard it's going to sync trait stones, or if it's going to require every arcane in the game. And just in case it requires every arcane in the game, specifically, that's why we're trying to keep them even, in case we need several hundred of every single one, for whatever reason. We'll find out in a couple months. It's not going to be next patch. The earliest it would be is 2 patches from now. Not next patch, but the following patch. And even that patch might not have it in. It might be 3 patches from now. But we do know it's coming sometime this year, almost guarantee. I should have taken that yellow. Oh, it's still not too late. There we go. And swipe him out there. Hey, no problem, Starlight. Yeah, Earthcaller is basically Ketris, except slightly lower boost ratio. And, though it has the benefit of, having a way lower mana cost. Especially with Enchant, you pretty much just get it up automatically after a few turns between the Enchant and the Explosion. Yeah, we might run the rest of our Tower of Doom. I always feel like I don't need to, though, because we're really getting almost no value out of it. I'd almost rather just be doing almost anything, because there really isn't a point in going for it from a reward perspective. Like, if we go deeper in Tower of Doom right now, the only thing we're gonna get, like, we don't need any rewards. We already had this done since, like, what, Wednesday? Leaderboard's not gonna get us anywheres, and even if we try going for closing this gap and make top 20, the extra reward we get is 25 gems and 2 dooms. Those 2 dooms basically being the near equivalent of nothing, and 25 gems obviously just being a relatively small amount of gems that we could farm in literally less than half an hour. So not really much of a point in doing anything beyond 25 more often than not. As far as 26 plus, I don't know, I personally feel like there's almost no need to ever go for it. Unless your guild hasn't finished all the rewards, that's about the only time. But if your guild has finished all the rewards, I really feel like there's no need to go beyond 26 in the current setup of Tower of Doom. Okay, we need 4 more of these if we're going off this theme. And yeah, we are hitting to base 350 trait stones. Actually, we might have that by the end of the stream. What do we still need? We need Arcane Blue, which is just 3 more copies. And we need Arcane Rage, which is 4 more copies. And that's it. Wow, we could have that this stream, guaranteed. Unless we get absurdly bad luck for the rest of the stream. But I highly doubt that. You can average around 10 to 12 arcanes on average per hour. And we're going for like another 3 hours, and we only need 7. So if we somehow don't get 7 within 3 hours, there's something drastically wrong with the drop rate of arcanes. You know, we've already gotten pretty much that many just during the stream already, 7. So we should be able to get another 7. Maybe we should add that to the title of the stream. Yeah, we're getting base 350 arcanes definitely by the end of the stream. And we need to work to base 400. And it looks like we might almost have base 500 by the time they finally add a trade stones, I think, at this rate. No, we'll definitely have base 400 though by then. I don't think we'll have 500 yet. But I'm not even sure how many trade stones we need. For all we know, we're only going to need like a couple hundred of each. We probably already have enough that whatever trade stones think they're adding to the game, we could already do the entirety of it immediately. But just in case, we don't know. We could need literally like 1,000 of each arcane. We just don't know yet how much it will actually cost. All we know is more won't hurt. Trying to keep it out of rarity is probably better, just in case it requires unique arcanes. And if it doesn't require unique arcanes, the first thing we're throwing is all of our arcane lights. Because gosh, do we have too many arcane lights. Way too many. Actually, how is our arcane light stack doing compared to our what's it called? To our celestial stack? Our celestial stack is currently 881, and our arcane stack is at 886. Hey, I didn't even realize that. But yesterday, when I finished the battles off stream, it actually hired our arcane light stack to finally, for the first time, be higher than our celestial tradestone stack. That is how broken Warrens is. For farming Warrens every single day, we now have more of an arcane tradestone than we do of our total amount of celestials. That is pretty funny. But yeah, we're at 881 celestial. We're at 886 arcane lights. That is pretty funny. It's gonna be 1,000 within like another month, pretty much. Give it another month, month and a half. By like the end of May, assuming we don't miss too many days, and assuming we gem the new faction, and we probably will. Yeah, we won't even need to worry about. We'll have basically 1,000 arcane lights then, and we'll have probably at this rate like 1,200 before they actually add a tradestone sync. Wait, is Skull at 331? Oh, we'll need to go do that then. I didn't realize Skull was so low. But let me work on the two that we're already working on, though. Then we'll shift over to Skull. Why is Skull so low? What came out recently that uses brown purple? I could have sworn we already had it at 350. But I guess a legend or epic or something came out. Now throw that down. Also, I need to start using small oranges on legends. I always use them on Mythix, but I should probably, with how many I have currently, I should probably start using them on legends. The only main reason I haven't been as much is we don't know if they're actually going to be usable for whatever the Tradestone sinks might be that are coming into the game. Hello, Gamera, welcome. Oh, is it 1 a.m. for you right now? Wow. I was glad you could still join us. Yeah, for me, it's like 11 a.m. right now. Not even noon yet. Okay, let me wrap up some of this food. I didn't even finish all of this yet. Looks like we're still going to have leftovers. I can't believe we still have we're going to have leftovers for like an entire week at this point. Let me wrap this up. Actually, let me wrap it up with one of the sandwiches too. Just so I don't feel obligated to have to eat more than I'm hungry for. One way to gain more weight. Let's see, move that over. Yeah, let me go put this back in the fridge real quick and go get another drink, I guess. Still have one sandwich here, which I'll nibble on while we're streaming, but 1 minute. Be right back. Okay, where were we? Also, let me try moving this back now. We have a little bit more room here. I'm not having a billion plates. Okay, where were we? Oh, also I need audio. I need to hear when the gnomes appear. Can we type weird stuff? What do you mean by weird stuff? The leftover stream, haha. Yeah, Easter food ended up lasting pretty much a week. Normally for Easter, I normally just do Thanksgiving stuff. So like turkey, mashed potatoes, wow, why can I not remember names of things? Stuffing. Cranberry sauce, you know, just like the normal gist of stuff that you would normally have for like a traditional kind of Thanksgiving kind of meal. Yep, stream just cut out for a moment. Best drop you got from 12 keys is a minor orange. Ouch, that is very unfortunate. So far we're at 0 vault keys, so we don't even know what our kind of loot's looking like so far. And I think we only got 1 glory gnome so far as well. Pretty unlucky. That's the best gnome we could possibly get. It's been only like about 1 or 2. Definitely not that many, that's for sure. Hello, Samuel. Welcome. Can you try out an ally devouring team? the other day. The new Mythic seems to be a ally devouring one. Next Mythic is not going to be the ally devouring one. It's going to be the one after that. But no, they're doing a different Mythic before then. It's the one that does, what was it? But did I not get it? Whoops, I didn't get the tap for it. Where'd it go? Let's see, grab this out. Let's see, what am I looking for here? No, I'm not looking for the class. However, next class is coming out next Friday. We could actually see that in-game as well. Which means no Thursday class events. But, what am I looking for? I'm looking for troops. Yeah, the next Mythic is not the one that the Spore of the Thread shows. The next Mythic is, Obsidian, which is, deal, magic plus... Oh, never mind. The Spore of the Thread now shows it correctly as well. But it's coming out on the same day as the new hero class next Friday. And it deals magic plus 4... wait, where'd it go? Magic plus 4 damage to an enemy, then does half damage to the adjacents. Or sorry, wait. Oh yeah, this was like a mini Infernus, kind of, weirdly. It's a weird version of Infernus that's weaker than Infernus, but has a different trait setup that's better than Infernus in some instances. But overall, it's basically a worse version of Infernus, which is kind of weird. But basically what it does is it deals damage to an enemy and half to adjacents. And it does a 5x5 explosion onto the board that you can target, instead of doing 4 random explosions. And then there's a 20% chance that it will deal a magic plus 4 damage to an enemy and do light splash, which is 25% to adjacents instead of 50%. So basically, it's less damage output than Infernus. It's only a % chance that it even gets its extra output. And overall, I don't know what they're doing with it because it's basically worse than Infernus. It's really, really strange. I don't know why they made it like that. However, his traits are slightly better. It summons a brown storm when a enemy dies, and it does use brown, similar to how Infernus does a red storm, and it does create red, or it does use red. It has stone skin, which is one nice benefit of it. It has 50% score reduction, whereas Infernus has 0% score reduction. And the biggest aspect that makes him better, and probably the only thing he's ever going to be used for, not even his ability, but pretty much is this, is he has 4 times stun every extra turn. He stuns the entire enemy team every extra turn you take. So yeah, instead of burning all enemies, he stuns all enemies, which is insanely good. He's the best stunner in the entire game and will forever be the best stunner in the entire game. But other than that, that is basically the only aspect he has that is worth using, is the fact that he's the best stunning option in the game. His ability is in every single way weaker than Infernus. The only thing that's better at is board control. However, that's not worth the amount of trade-off he has for it. But Infernus has the way superior ability. But him having, the other one having stone skin with the best stun in the game is pretty decent nonetheless. Any instance where stun is a priority, you would obviously use that. Okay, what do we need here? Let's take a purple for now. You got 1 vault key in 5 hours. Hopefully that's not our luck. I did say we'd hand out a redeem code when we get a vault key. Hopefully that vault key actually comes. No, we should be able to. It is possible to get so unlucky that you do go multiple hours without getting one. However, more often than not, it shouldn't take more than 2 hours tops. We've already been going for almost an hour. And you can get really unlucky sometimes. It happens. Also, do we have a reason as to why Vosh Dargon was actually delayed? I haven't heard a reason from them yet. I heard that it was delayed, and now we see it even on the Sport of the Thread that it is indeed delayed. But did they ever give an actual reason as to why it was delayed? I don't recall ever hearing a reason as to why. Other than the fact that its ability was probably working incorrectly, because it had a really weird ability. Hey, 5,000 souls, not too bad. Best soul drop you can even get off a soul gnome. Yeah, we'll throw that down. And there we go. The new mythic would be perfect with Iron Gut and Delves. How so? Most things that are in Delves have immune to stun. That actually have immune to devour. So things like dwarf teams, which normally have 3 immunes, have immune to stun and devour, as well as any troop that has impervious, which sometimes there's 2 or 3 on a team, have immune to stun and devour. Leviathan also still has immune to stun and devour, and a few others. So yeah, that stun isn't really going to help you much compared to transform. Nothing in Delves has immunity to transform, but plenty of them still have immune to stun. There are a few that you would be able to stun that do only have immune to devour, but not immune to stun, but it is very few. It's like Rock Troll and maybe like a handful of others, but it's a very, very small amount. So many I can't even think of any other than Rock Troll. But I'm pretty sure there's a few others, but it's a very small number. Generally, you almost always go transform. Like 80 to 90% of the, probably even more than 90% actually, but like 90% of the things in Delves that have immune to devour also have immune to stun. So you basically have to transform them if you want to be able to devour them. Which is why you use Possessed King or Dragon's Eye, either or. Or both. Technically, you could actually use both simultaneously. But normally if you use Dragon's Eye, you use Sylvania more instead of them. And if you use Possessed King, you use Mount Crusher instead. Are there a certain day of the week it is better to use Vault Keys? No. Every day is perfectly fine to use Vault Keys. It is technically ever so slightly better doing Vault Keys during a Vault event, as there is a ever so slightly higher chance you can get a Vault Key from a Vault Key during Vault events. However, that amount of increase is so ridiculously low that it's basically trivial. So you can pretty much just use them whenever. I know on my Nintendo Switch account, I just use them immediately regardless. There's really no point in doing it otherwise. Especially when you actually need to loot from those Vault Keys. But no, you pretty much just open them whenever. Second you get them is perfectly fine. The only time you've ever seen me hold them in the past is because of new gnomes being added into the game, and I wanted to get those drops just for full completionist sake. However, they don't seem to be adding another gnome anytime soon. And even if they did, it doesn't really matter too much because they're all pretty much useless. The only thing that isn't is Cedric. I highly doubt they're actually going to be adding a viable gnome like Cedric to the Vault Key drop table. Yeah, Vault events are completely based on about luck. Even if you do get unlucky, though, you are still getting a, a decent amount of base loot simply from the normal gnome drop table. Unfortunately, we just got a jewel gnome there with its worst drop table of any of them. However, like that 200 useless charge, which is basically 2 diamonds, except we have to pay souls into it. But you're still gaining resources passively as you're going through it all. Like, even if you technically have 0 Vault Keys, you're still getting a bunch of souls per hour, you're still getting a bunch of glory per hour and stuff like that. Like, even this hour, we've already gotten, like, about 1,000 glory, probably over 10,000 souls, and a bunch of other stuff on top of that. So it's not like we're not getting anything. We're still getting more loot than we normally would be. We're just unfortunately not getting any Vault Keys. And even if you do get Vault Keys, you can get really unlucky with them. Hey, another level, 92. Like last week, we had absurdly bad Vault Key luck. I think we only got 2 Vault Keys that had anything in it. I think 100 gem drop in one and like the 15. Oh, hey, Vault Key! There we go, first of many. But I think we only got like 100 gem drop in like a 15 event key drop. And even 15 event key drops are pretty bad. Okay, so yeah, our tribute seems kind of normal. We got a 12 here, or 13. Seems like on track to normal. Really, anything above 10 is nice. Still, anytime you basically see double-digit gems there,
Seems pretty nice. Not to mention those gold keys are normally like 1 extra gem each time as well when we're getting this many. Plus, of course, we get those other 3 resources. But anyways, that's that. Let's go grab our event thingy thing. We're almost done with it without even going out of our way to do it. But yeah, let's go open the vault key and hand out a code. Let's do the vault key first. Should only have 1, yeah. Okay, let's just do it out with this team. You do anything special, just throw down Firebomb, throw down Sunbird Dead. If that doesn't kill, just use whatever your cleanup troop is. In case we're using the Imperial Jewel, but this should die to it. We have enough stats this late in the game that that should be dead. And there we go. And if not, we have Imperial Jewel or Rowan or whatever you end up using there. Okay. This could be good or could be bad. We got 10 gems, 2 useless diamonds, and what is this orb? Please be purple. Purple or blue. Ah, stop giving oranges. How many oranges do we have right now? That is a good flash offer, by the way. However, I'm still not buying it. It is a really good offer. It's either tied at the best or literally the best flash offer they've ever added. They have added this one before. I think they might just be doing it every single time a Vault event comes around now. But, yeah, it is a really, really good offer. Anyways, what am I looking for? I am looking for my amount of orange orbs. Let me see. I think we have over 100, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. Do we have over 100? We have 129. Gosh, that is so many orange orbs. But yeah, we have 129 small oranges. Before you know it, we'll have enough orange orbs to trade everything in the game over again, almost. Okay, maybe not that many, but feels like we almost have that many. What was I gonna check? I was gonna check something else. Oh yeah, I was. I didn't say it, but I wanted to check how many arcanes we had. Someone said we were low on arcane skulls. Oh yeah, you're right. 331. You're right. I didn't catch that. Oh, excuse me. Well, I think we're done with reds now. No, we're still 1 short. Really? Okay, we'll finish out reds. We'll then finish out yellow-blue because it's already so close. And then we'll do skull for the rest of the time. Probably in, what, Droxzoom? Yeah, probably Droxzoom. They need to add an orb converter. Oh, they'll never add an orb converter. Blues are just way too OP for them to ever add an orb converter. I highly doubt they ever would. However, I would convert like 10 oranges and 100 gems into 1 small blue. I'm pretty sure they would make it slightly cheaper than that if they were to ever do that, but I highly doubt they would even implement something like that. But I would actually spend that much. If we can convert all of our oranges into 13 blues and spend only like a little over 1,000 gems to do so, I would consider that worth it. Because each small blue orb saves around anywheres from... Oh, we already got the arcane we needed. Well, that was quick. But every single small blue saves you anywhere from 200 gems to over 1,000 gems. If you use it on something like getting a new event key legend, from legend to mythic, you save like 1,000 gems that you would have if you would have spent on event keys. And if you do it on an event, it can save anywhere from 250 to about 500 from saving from having to go and get another event tier. So if you get it something from an event upgraded to legend by buying to a certain tier and then doing it again to save you like 350 or 500 by using a blue orb, that's where a good majority of their value comes from, saving you hundreds upon hundreds of gems. So we just got 1,000 glory, very nice. But orange orbs don't ever save you gems. Arcane trait stones technically have no gem value associated to them. They do have a time value associated to them, though. Trait stones generally take around... well, you can get about 10 per hour. But with that being said, that takes about, what, an hour and a half to 2 hours to fully trade a legendary. And around 3 to about 4 hours to fully trade a mythic. So in that regard, oranges do save you time, but at no point do they really save you trait stone cost. That's one of the reasons why purple and blues are so important. Purples and blues both save you on gems, specifically. Whereas orange and green has no effect on your gems whatsoever. Oh yeah, let me go hand out a code, my bad. I did say when we get a Vault key, I would hand out a code. Also, we need to go change kingdoms anyways right now. Let's see, we'll mark that down. Copy, copy. Save it. Copy that. Boom, boom. Refresh. Paste it right there. Copy the whole thing. Also, if we can somehow get 3 Vault keys this stream, we will hand out another code. If we reach 3 Vault keys, so another 2 of them. There's the code. Use it on gemsofwar.com, redeem game code section. Your invite codes underneath settings menu. Whatever your game says there. Redeem codes right over there in chat. You guys know already. Same order as always. 2 treasure maps, 1 gem key, 200 souls, 2,500 gold. And just click that link and that's where you use it. Anyways, oh, it only works on PC mobile. Anyways, time to switch kingdom. Let's go to Sword's Edge to go get our yellow-blue. And then we need to go and farm arcane skulls for the rest of the time. I think we only need 4 of these, and then we can start working on skulls. Like half an hour here, and then we can just go to Zoom for the rest of the time. Also, forget if I mentioned anything for it, but we did get a 1,000 glory gnome drop right over there several battles ago. Very nice. And no problem for the code, everyone. Let's see. I'll throw that down for now. So glad she was able to get it before work. Yeah, I've still been contemplating on if I should get a part-time job somewhere around me. The only real big issue with getting a part-time job where I currently live is the minimum wage is $7.25, and almost every single part-time job near me is $7.25 to $8 per hour, which is, it just feels so little. It just feels so ridiculously little. I'd rather make half as much doing something I'm passionate about than work for someone for like $7.25 an hour. Let's see. Throw that down. Take the brown down. And then we sunbird into the other thing right there. Oh yeah, I'm in one of the lowest wage areas in the entire country, in the United States. Though the slight benefit of that is it also has the one of the lowest cost of living in the entire United States as well. Vote Bernie next year. I do like Bernie. I am more on the side of Andrew Yang and Tulsi Gabbard, though. Particularly Andrew Yang. But yeah, I definitely wouldn't be against voting for Bernie. I don't agree with all of his policies, and even something like a $15 minimum wage, oddly enough, I don't actually fully agree with. Mainly because of its effect on small businesses, including just on myself, like if I ever have to hire anyone. But entrepreneurs and small businesses definitely don't benefit that much from a minimum wage. However, it would probably be offset by the fact that he's fighting for Medicare for all. So that would reduce the costs for businesses as well as for employees not needing to worry about it. So you can actually switch jobs a little bit better. I haven't had healthcare since I left New Jersey. Let's see, I haven't had healthcare for 3 to 4 years now. But yeah, I would still personally have to say, if I had to rank the current candidates, I am Andrew Yang #1, Tulsi Gabbard #2, and Bernie Sanders #3. That is pretty much my ranking for them. And everyone else, I would be very iffy to vote for. Like, maybe ever so slightly Elizabeth Warren. But I highly doubt she's actually going to make it. But those are like the only 3 I would actually probably vote for who would actually make it. Buttigieg, I'm still kind of iffy on Buttigieg. He doesn't really have too many policy specifics, so I still don't know yet. Though he just did enter the race pretty recently. But, I don't know. I'm still hesitant on him, personally. Let's see. Oh, yeah, we definitely need to get rid of the tipping culture. That is for sure. Definitely need to get rid of tipping culture.
Yeah, Tulsi Gabbard is running on the best foreign policy currently of any candidate running, which is pretty nice. I feel like she's definitely, even if she doesn't make presidency, she has really good chance for vice president or at least make an administrator in some way, like Secretary of State, where she can actually affect policy like that. But yeah, as far as what I would personally say is optimal, Bernie Sanders with Tulsi vice president, or Andrew Yang with Tulsi vice president, or Tulsi with Andrew Yang vice president. Any of those three combinations I would see as ideal. Though the most ideal I would personally say is Andrew with her as vice president. I wish there was more than one candidate fighting for UBI though. Because even Andrew Yang, I don't agree on everything with, but you're almost gonna never get a candidate where you agree on like literally everything. But I don't know. I don't know why no one else is running on UBI other than him. So I'm glad someone finally is. What do we take here? Throw that down. If you had UBI, you would quit your job tomorrow. I don't know. UBI wouldn't really affect how I personally work. It would just allow me to be able to do it more, really. Because I wouldn't have to worry about as much financial stress on anything. But, yeah, I don't think overall it would really affect too many people's work ethic. Because even if people, like, initially end up saying, oh, I'll just quit my job now because UBI, people are going to start working or doing something. Like, they're just going to start doing passion projects or something. Like, no one's just going to do literally nothing with their lives. Like, they might quit their job, but they'll move on to still doing something productive. It might not be initially, but no one's just going to do literally nothing from getting a UBI. I'm gonna take that over. Get a firebomb down. Actually, let me take that purple there. I'll take that over. Firebomb down. And then we sunbird in that. Oh yeah, that's also the other thing that's kind of funny too. Is technically, some people kind of already have a UBI already, like from either disability or other conditions, or even just from inheriting a lot of wealth and just simply having that wealth invested. Because I know my dad, he makes around, what is it? 5,000 to 6,000, I believe, per month, doing almost nothing. However, he does have quite a bit of expenses because he runs rental properties. But still, I believe it's net gain of several thousand a month doing near nothing other than collecting rent and doing the occasional repairs, which he normally does himself, but of course he can hire that out for pretty decent, or, you know, for pretty low if he really needs to. Is the mic low? It's on the same setting it's always been. Is the mic low right now? People keep mentioning that, but I have it almost as max as it could possibly go. There we go. Now it's really as max as it could possibly go. Actually, it could technically go a little bit higher than that, but... Oh, no, was the mic low? People didn't seem to have been saying it was. Let's see. I'll throw a firebomb down. You would want a candidate that goes for pet food quality. There's actually a lot of really small issues out there that almost never get addressed because it's not a politically savvy to actually go and try addressing them. Probably like a whole list of like actual thousands of policies that people can have that no one will almost ever have because it's not particularly popular or inspiring to bother fighting for them, but are still possibly things that would be very useful.
Let's see. We'll take that over. And down it goes. Have Gnome events been nerfed? They seem much, to so much last couple times. Nope, it seems about the same. We're still getting about 1 Vault Key per hour. Or I should say 1 every 90 minutes or so, but currently we're on 1 per hour at the moment. And as far as the actual gnome drops, or, you know, the number of gnomes, we've been around the same. We've already gotten, like, what, 2,000 glory from the hour and a half we've been going, as well as the Vault Key, as well as all the other loot. So, I don't know, it seems about average as it's always been. I tend to use glory as the other factor of how much loot we're getting, because out of every single drop that any of the gnomes has, Gnome's glory makes up a good bulk of the actual value, oddly enough. And no problem for the code, everyone. But yeah, I love chatting about politics. The only reason I normally don't is, of course, people have difference of opinions, and normally if you're watching a gaming stream, most people aren't here to hear about politics. I try to keep it minimal, but I definitely love talking about it. I do follow it to a decent degree. Okay, we'll throw that down. The Sunbird down. Removing income tax and just having a VAT tax on everything? That would be an interesting way of going about it. I wouldn't be against that. Though definitely would love a UBI. But that does make sense. Removing just income tax in general. Because there's a lot of ways to get around income tax that, like a lot of things are taxed at different rates, depending on how you go about it. Like, from if you were to actually, like, sell products or if you were to go and make investments are completely taxed differently than how income tax is taxed. Income tax actually has one of the highest tax on it, if I'm not mistaken. Because isn't it around 100,000, like 30% or something? Whereas I believe on, like, even some of the higher investment stuff, I think you only ever get taxed on, like, 20-25%, if even that. Has so many people upset easily? Oh, no, I'm pretty open-minded about most things, policy-wise. Let's see. We'll take the red for now. Just get a Sunbird in there. Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, the number of people or the number of companies that paid 0 in federal taxes last year doubled. It was 30 and then it moved to 60 this year. It was, yeah, I think it was 2017? Or, I mean, or, you know, the 2018 filing tax year. Or, you know, back in 2018, it was 30, and then it doubled this year for this filing of 2019 of 60 or so. The Amazon, of course, was one of them, despite them making billions in profits. Doesn't make any sense whatsoever. The United States is, I believe, one of the only few developed countries that doesn't have a value-added tax. I'm actually surprised that every candidate isn't running on it and just mentioning, like, what they'll use it for. Like, obviously, Andrew Yang's running on it and just using it for UBI. But no one's really mentioning value-added tax other than him for the most part. Actually, I don't recall a single other candidate specifically mentioning it. Like, they might have, like, kind of hinted at it, but they never actually called it by name. Pass it for president? No, I'd make a horrible president. Let's see. We'll throw that down. I tend to like keeping myself having minimal responsibilities. It's not that I completely hate having responsibility of various things. It's just I get really overwhelmed very easily. Alright, we'll take that, take that, take that. Throw Firebomb down. Actually, let me take those purples first. Government is terrible with money. That is correct. Especially when they keep optimizing it for horrible, horrible things that are inefficient. Like when they try doing almost all of like probably one of the more better recent examples is everything that happened with Puerto Rico. They pretty much just did all the money that went to it to private contractors that basically ended up failing at their job, rather than having some kind of system in place that could actually make it work. Because there's basically just a for-profit middleman in between. Kind of like how our healthcare system is right now. And that almost always reduces quality while making the price higher. Why the United States pays almost 2 times the amount for healthcare right now to pretty much worse results than most other countries. Okay, let's throw Sunbird for now. And he was killed out. That's why you have staff to deal with everything. Yeah, there definitely needs to get money out of politics. Most candidates are running on that, though. I forget what the full list is, but most of them are. How serious each one is varies, though. Yeah, definitely money has to be completely removed from politics. Or at least big donors, dark money and everything like that. Super PACs, stuff like that. Yeah, publicly funded elections and everything is definitely the direction to go in. Welcome to the Gems of Politics stream. Pretty much. I don't know if you guys have anything specifically you want to go over, might as well. I'll throw a Sunbird down. Hey, I got another Arcane. Actually, speaking of that Arcane, let me go double check. I think it's time to move on to the final kingdom that we need. What do we have here? Yeah, exactly 350. Nice. Okay, let's go head over to Skull. And since we're already in this menu, we might as well do it this way. Excuse me. Okay, let's click here. Go to Drac Zoom. And just explore the rest that we need here. People run on things that sound good. Oh no, several candidates are running on things that would actually improve things. And personally, I would say Andrew Yang has one of the closest ones. He has over 100 policies listed on his website. And out of any candidate, I probably agree with the highest amount of percent of his policies than any other one. Of any other candidate that actually has like a full list of policies. Let's see. We'll take that for now. What do we even need? Take the green for now. And then we go Sunbird into pretty much just dead off Sunbird. I have played some of their Tropico games. I think I only played 3 and 4 though, if I'm not mistaken. They haven't played 5 or 6. They actually came out with a 6 already? Like every few years they come out with another one of those. Saying and doing are 2 different things though. Yeah, of course. But knowing what they stand for normally helps to get a general idea of what they plan to do. And some of that just has to do with getting it through the Senate and House. Because there's only so many things executive orders can do. Oh, we already got an arcane. How many of those 100 actually within the power of the president? A decent amount of them. Not all of them, though. I think one of his most interesting policies that he has that is actually within his power, that he can do almost immediately without even needing to go through Congress or anything, is changing the way that we measure economic growth in our country. He wants to completely get rid of... Oh, wow. How do I already forget the name for what it's called? Oh, yeah. He wants to get rid of GDP and completely replace it with a completely new system that will be based on how people are actually doing from a health perspective, family perspective, and, you know, a bunch of other aspects that actually matter to people rather than just economic growth. Because with technology just ramping up and everything, economic growth is going to mean almost nothing to the well-being of people, because everyone who's going to, or basically all the economic growth is just happening from large corporations that have a lot of AI, robots, and able to hire a bunch of people. And that doesn't really represent how the average person is doing. So one of his biggest things that he can actually do without even addressing through Congress is completely getting rid of GDP and replacing it with a new system that actually tracks how people are, you know, doing within the country. And that wouldn't require him at all to get congressional approval. And he's the only candidate running on something like that, surprisingly enough. We'll throw that down. Wow, we're getting a lot of arcanes all of a sudden. We got like 3 arcanes in 4 battles. That wouldn't upset 50% of the people. Almost all politics are going to be split almost down the middle, 50-50. Well, maybe not exactly, but you know. People always will be divided on anything. You can say absolutely anything. Like, this this turkey sandwich tastes good, and there'll be someone who disagrees with you. Well, that's with absolutely anything. Let's see. Also, that reminds me, I have a turkey sandwich just sitting here, and I still haven't finished it yet. Is the turkey sandwich good? It's decent. Not the best I ever had. But, seriously, what's with all the arcanes? But it's, decently good. It is not a squirrel sandwich. I believe after all those arcanes we just got, we probably only need another dozen at this point. We should have base 350 by the end of the stream. If you have anyone else and anything else you want to talk about, politics or otherwise, feel free to mention it. These tend to be the best times to even try chatting about anything, because Explorer tends to be quite a bit of the same thing until we finally get Gnomes. It was a lot easier to talk with chat and everything than it normally would be. It's a sunbird sandwich. It sounds like it would be spicy. What am I looking forward to over the summer? I'm probably going to be visiting some friends. Something I meant to do earlier this year, but things came up that just kind of made it not possible. But, might be seeing some family or having family come over. And other than that, I don't know, I don't really have too much planned. It's like the only two, like, really big things, I guess. Seeing some friends and family. Meaning of life, go. Life has no meaning. Go down the path of nihilism. I don't know, life's whatever you make of it. The meaning it has is whatever you put to it. As long as you're not hurting others, you're pretty much doing it right. Let's see. Throw that down. And just kill the sunbird. And life is like a box of chocolates. Yeah, and Exos, that's another issue right now, too. A lot of people in the establishment are basically using the term Medicare for all while proposing things that aren't Medicare for all. While making it seem like they still are for it. And even Andrew Yang actually isn't even that strong on it. He does have some really good policies, and he does technically support getting to Medicare for all. But the only problem with anyone who mentions, like, getting towards it is probably just going to be doing it incrementally. Because ultimately, he's most likely only going to be able to get a public option or a buy-in option passed, more often not. And realistically, almost anyone who tries getting in, that's almost going to be the same fate for everyone who tries getting in, even if that's not their current position. Because to get it passed through Congress, it's going to be, like, near impossible. Like an actual full, proper Medicare for all. Hey, you never know. Yeah, it has a proper Medicare for all system has a lot of benefits. People can actually change jobs without having to worry as much because you wouldn't have healthcare associated with a job. You would just have it. Businesses wouldn't need to pay out for it. And people wouldn't need to worry about what kind of insurance they have, if their insurance will cover something, or any of the billion of other random things that happen with all the, just all the problems with having to deal with insurance companies. Since their whole goal is basically to pay you as minimal as possible so they can make as much profit as possible. Didn't have to worry about that. What is vault grinding? Vault grinding is basically exactly what we're doing right now. Vault grinding is basically going to explore in challenges, or even PvP for that matter, spamming a bunch of battles and getting a bunch of gnomes. And you basically want to reduce the amount of time it takes to win as much as possible, because the more battles you do, the more chances you'll have to find more gnomes, and the more gnomes you find, the more loot you get. So we're pretty much just spamming Explorer at about 3 wins per minute, 4 wins per minute, somewhere around there. And just getting a bunch of loot from them. And we'll eventually just get random gnomes, and those gnomes will drop us ideally vault keys, and if not vault keys, other good loot. Oh yeah, the older speed was like glacially slow compared to 4 times speed. Some people didn't like 4 times speed initially, but pretty much everyone like uses 4 times speed now. For the most part. Even 4 times speed is starting to seem slow. Or, you know, not like slow, but, you know, it's... start getting so used to it that it doesn't even seem like it's a speed increase at this point. It just seems like the default speed of the game. And everything else just seems like glacially slow speed. Yeah, the game used to run really slow. Like, what 1.25 speed in this game is right now is basically what the only speed of the game was back in the day. Actually, is there even a 1.25 option? I know there's a 1.5 option. Yeah, there's a 1.25. But basically what 1.25 is, this is about what it was when... this is basically what the game speed used to be back in the day. Like, you even see, this basically looks like slow motion now. But this is basically the game speed that used to be in place in the game prior to us ever getting 4 times speed and 2 times speed. Yeah, that is how slow it is. It literally just looks like slow motion. And of course, anything below that really looks like slow motion. But that's basically what used to be default for the game for the longest time. We only recently got those speed increases in, like, what, the last year and a half or so. You should pretty much just open your Vault keys when you get them. I highly doubt they're adding another gnome at this point. And even if they do, it's not really that big a deal. Because assuming it's just another useless common, it's just another useless common. There isn't really any direct need to go for it other than full completionist sake. What weapon am I using? I'm using Prismatic Shard. It's the weapon you get at, I believe, 25 all mastery or 30 all mastery. I forget which. Somewhere around there. It's something all 6 of the masteries. You get it by around level like 250, probably even earlier than that though. By like 200 or something. But yeah, you need a bunch of every single color. It's one of the last weapons you tend to really get. But it's pretty weak. However, in the context of this team, it's actually worth using. The ability itself is really underwhelming. The main thing that's relevant about it, it's one of only 2 things that you can use, Prismatic Orb and Imperial Jewel, that covers every single color in the entire game. And the only real thing that this does is a small amount of split damage. However, when we're fighting battles that are this low and easy to kill, that actually is pretty useful. Very rarely is this weapon actually usable. But in the context of Explore and challenges, the stats in the game mode are so low that it actually does become viable to use. How fast was Puzzle Quest and Puzzle Quest 2? You can't remember? About what 1.5 times speed is in this game. Actually, we can go test that real quick. Haha. Let's see. I can go bring that up. Let's go open Puzzle Quest. It's been a while since we played Puzzle Quest. Let me just see. I'll do it just to test it real quick. Might as well. I won't test Puzzle Quest 2, but let's go bring up Puzzle Quest real quick. Puzzle Quest, play. Will it actually show up on screen? I probably don't have a window capture for it, but we can go create one real quick. Let me go mute Gems of War so we don't have 2 audios going. Let's see. Loading. Puzzle Quest. It's probably not showing up on screen, is it? Let me go get that. Where's a window capture? Let me go make a new window capture for it. Add window capture. Where'd it go? We'll just call it default window capture. Not what I want. Let's see. Puzzle Quest. There we go. Now let's keep it that small. We don't really need to make it bigger. Anyways, Puzzle Quest. The original that started basically Gems of War, kind of. But this is the original Puzzle Quest with the DLC of Plague Lord on Steam. Let's continue our quest, I guess, and just find a random battle. Let's see. Oh, it doesn't have any audio at the moment, does it? We'll just fight this. Let's see. How do I turn on audio on you? Audio, where are you? There we go. Now we got audio. This is the speed that Puzzle Quest was. Let's see. Let's find a move. Also, what on earth are even our moves right now? I should probably take that skull. Oh yeah, we're running Inspire Spam. Oh yeah, we're running in Reflect Tank. It's something I really wish existed on Gems of War. Reflect Tanks are amazing. But Gems of War, for whatever reason, doesn't have one. Both of the Puzzle Quests did. The closest thing to Reflect Tank on Gems of War is Bloom Leaf, and that's not even that good of an option. Let's see. Oh, this board is so bad. Let's take that for now, I guess. You just start getting used to how the coloration is as well. Seems so different. Let's see. But this is how slow Puzzle Quest was. Yeah, it seems like about what 1.5 times speed would have been. Somewhere around there. Let's see. So I guess we're just playing out this battle at this point. Might as well. We already started. Might as well finish what we started. There's not too many quick kill setups in Puzzle Quest though. Most of them were nerfed out, like all the skull spam related ones. There are some combinations that work, but you have to unlock like really annoying to obtain spells that take forever to unlock. But anyways, let's start running Reflect Tank. We'll throw Inspire down, we'll throw him down Mirrors. Get him to take a skull first. We also have a bunch of poisons every time we skull. Actually, one of the probably the most overpowered things in Puzzle Quest 1, this one, is poison and disease spam off of skulls. You can get a lot of perks that end up increasing your chance to do that. And it is just so ridiculously strong. We'll go put some mirrors on. We'll reflect all the damage that he does to us. There's also several items that end up increasing our reflect as well. And something else I miss that Gems of War doesn't have is the ability to set like items that actually like increase specific things. Gems of War doesn't really have this. It has armor, which gives you like extra bonuses for how much loot you end up getting. But other than that, it doesn't really have much else. Okay, let's see. Which one of these was actually good again? Song of Terror, I believe. For a double Song of Terror on him. I believe that does damage per turn based on how many purple gems are on the board. So we'll do that again. And we'll still let him die out. I believe that has a cap of 2 that you can even put on it. What does Chant do again? Turn all red gems to purple. That would extra turn, but I don't really want that. So we'll just pass our turn with pretty much anything. Probably just let it die off of terrors now. And just let it chip down from there. We'll stick a red for now. They'll skull us, but we still reflect, so we take some damage off it. And we should pretty much be good to go at this point. Just need like one more poke. How long is that terror? 7 turns. Yeah, he'll die to that. At this point, we already have Song of Mirrors for another 10 because it bases how long it lasts is based on how much yellow we have. That's why our yellow mastery is so large. And Inspire makes it even bigger. I guess we'll throw another terror at it and that's match. He'll die next turn. And we'll stick some EXP and actually never mind, we're already at max level. There we go. Okay, so that's that. Anyways, that's how quick or slow I should say Puzzle Quest is. Go close out Puzzle Quest now then. Get rid of that. Actually, I might as well just completely get rid of it. Delete, yes. And let me change my audio back to Gems of War. Close out that. Get audio for Gems of War back on. Okay, anyways, where were we? Anyways, in other news. Oh, sorry, Exos, what was your question? What was your question about mastery? Do you repeat it? Let's see. Gems of War question for a change. You just leveled up. Is mastery percent as integer function? There's a specific formula for it. I could go get that formula real quick. But, let's see. One moment. Let's see. Mastery formula. It was modified once about a year into the game, and then was never changed again. Let's see. Well, I found a post on it that does have a explanation on it. Let's see. Yeah, I believe most of the info on this one is correct. This wasn't the original post on it, though. But it does have the formula on it, so let me just copy paste this, I guess. This is fine. Not the exact one I wanted to show, but it's good enough. It shows the formula. But right over there is the formula for it. Oh, what were you asking? The highest percent that's possible? Let's see. Because that's actually answered in the post I just mentioned. Oh, is it actually at a certain percent? No, it actually is doing the exact percent. Or it is doing it down to the decimal. So, for example, if it says 34%, it could be something like 34.76%. But yes, it does do it to the exact percent, to my understanding. Even though it just shows a whole number there, it does do it to the exact percent. I'm not 100% certain on that, but to my understanding, it does do it to the exact percent. Because that's how the formula internally is calculated. It just shows you a whole number just so it doesn't look like a decimal mess. Because even if it says something like a 65%, it's like a 65.46 or something. And instead of just showing all the extra decimals, it just shows it as a whole number. But yes, to my understanding, it does count to decimals. So if you had something like a 65.99% or 64.99, it would count it as 64.99 and not as 64. However, I don't think anyone has extensively tested that just to double check, but regardless, it doesn't matter much regardless either way. Like, more often than not, that's only going to be like a 0.6 on average difference or so, if even that. Yes, to my understanding, it does function, the decimal of the percent. It's just not visible in the game, but it does function. Good morning, Dragon Ball Z fan. Welcome. And as I mentioned, we will hand out a second code if and only if we hit 3 Volkies. Hopefully we hit 3 Volkies. Currently we're at 1. However, this hour isn't done yet, so we might still get one this hour. Never know. We'll be going for about another 2 hours or so. I want to reach around level 96 or 97 on Sentinel. Definitely at minimum 96. If the goal is winning as quickly as possible, does taking a 4x gem instead of immediately exploding slow down your rate? Yes. More often than not, taking a 4x actually slows you down, rather than using Firebomb, or a Leprechaun, or whatever else you're using for your mana generation method. But yes, that might seem counterproductive, but almost every instance that is the case. In the instance of 5x, it's normally worth taking the 5x if it's something like your bigger damage source. Like, obviously, if we see a 5x purple or 5x red, we're going to want to go for it. But many 4x are actually worse than if you were to just explode the board. Why Firebomb? Because mana generation. It also gets some extra damage down so we can ideally one-shot his entire team, which is the main goal here. But yeah, compared to a Leprechaun, even though a Leprechaun would yield us more mana, it doesn't really do that much damage. Whereas Firebomb's doing 28 plus whatever explodes on skulls. Whereas a Leprechaun would do about 5, just because that's how much it exploded off the board. A Leprechaun would be quite a bit more mana. But in this instance, since we're using Forest Guardian and a half mana or Sunbird, we don't really need it. Like right there, we saw a 5x red. In that instance, it was worth it to take it. Sometimes you can even just wipe out the team without even needing the Firebomb follow-up there. Do you know if KD... What is KD again? There's so many things... We're starting to get so many troops, I'm forgetting what some of the abbreviations are. Getting a second Mythic, since almost every kingdom... Wait, is KD Kingdom? Do you know if kingdoms will be getting a second kingdom? A second Mythic? Yes, every single kingdom will be getting a second Mythic. And the next one's going to be Droxzoom. Yeah, every kingdom has a Mythic. So any kingdom that now gets another Mythic will be a second Mythic. So next Friday's Mythic will be the second Mythic for Droxzoom. We'll have that useless one that counters the Vines. I forget her name again. But we have that useless one that counters the Vines, and then we'll have the new one that's going to be the best stunner in the entire game, coming out next Friday. He's basically like a weaker version of Infernus, but he has the best stun in the game, as well as skill reduction. He has better traits, but worse... He has better traits than Infernus, but worse ability than Infernus. However, you can use both of them on the same team, and you'd be able to stun and burn all enemies per extra turn, while having 2 troops that do similar damage typing. I believe the two of them together covers 4 colors. Brown, red, yellow, and purple. Come on, Volky. You know you want to. Nope. Now it's only a matter of time before we get another one. You had a bad time finding gnomes tonight? Let's see. Level 37 to 38 on a class before seeing one? Well, that's not too bad. Because that's only like, what? 40 EXP or so. Unless you meant to say a longer level range than that. Because that's actually relatively quick then. Obsidian will generate more mana? How do you figure? Pretty sure Infernus is more mana. Obsidian has better board control, but Infernus has more mana accumulation. Of course, if you get decent enough board control, you could theoretically have better mana accumulation off of Obsidian. However, if you're just taking the amount of value that a 5 by 5 explosion does relative to 4 random explosions, 4 random explosions gives more mana. But of course, it comes down to their cascade on which one actually does more or less. But if you're just counting it based on the explosion, Infernus's 4 explosion is better than a 5 by 5 1 explosion from a mana accumulation perspective. But the Obsidian has more board control, so you could end up net gaining more mana that way, since you could cascade it into 4 times, a 5 times, a 3, and you'd have just more control over the board in that regard. But no, I would say overall, Infernus would probably have better mana accumulation. Infernus also has the added benefit of not needing to figure out where on earth you want to cast your ability. Wait, is it 5 by 5 destroy instead of 5 by 5 explode? I did not catch that caveat. My bad. That is a bit different. Let's see. 5 by 5 destroy. Oh, okay. Huh. Never mind. Yeah, if that actually does destroy, you're right. Never mind. That would be better then. I didn't think about that, or I didn't notice that caveat to it. But yeah, the other one says explode, right? Let's see. 5 by 5. No, this one just says destroy, and I don't believe it actually destroys. Let me go double check real quick. I'm pretty sure this still counts for partial. Well, based on the thing, it actually doesn't. Oh, we thought this thing counted as partial. Never mind. Yeah, 5 by 5 but destroy. Yeah, that might be better than 4 random explosions. I'd have to test it out. It would still take longer to cast because you'd have to figure out where to cast it. But yeah, if you actually accumulate all 25 of that mana, that could potentially be better. Because how many are you getting out of a perfect Infernus? You're getting 4, so that's 18. Yeah, you're only getting 18 out of it, out of a perfect situation, which normally wouldn't happen perfectly, and even if it did, it's only 18. Whereas the 5 by 5 destroy is more often than not going to be a 25. So yeah, it does technically have better mana accumulation then. It doesn't have as good of a cascade because it won't clear as much of the board, but it will end up because it does ultimately clear less board, so it's less of a board clear than whatever Infernus is. But it does have the added benefit of having more control and technically directly being more mana accumulation up front. Yeah, I didn't notice that aspect of it. My bad. But it's situational which one would actually be better from a mana accumulations perspective. Regardless, I feel like using both on a team would be decent. Regardless of how it functions. Anyways, what am I doing? Go back to Droxzoom, though while I'm here, figuring out where on earth to go screen-wise. What's our current trade stone looking like? 337. We're almost there. 13 more, and we're at base. Oops, I didn't mean to go to Darkstone. Just go back to Droxzoom. Yeah, just need 13 more, and then we're at base 350. which we should hopefully have by the end of the stream. Unless we get really unlucky, which can happen. Yeah, it's definitely going to be an interesting mythic nonetheless. Too bad we don't have a troop that starts daemons with like 40% mana or 50% mana or something. Pretty sure they wouldn't do 50%, but if they did like divines and make it a 40%, it'd be interesting to see how that pans out. Because most mythics are daemons and divines, which is one of the reasons why divines are even 40% to begin with. They had to nerf it down. I feel like they would do the same thing if they tried doing it for daemons. Though I don't think daemons would benefit as much from it compared to how divines did. Hey, we got Celestial Trait Stone. That's better than Gnome Drop. Fail. I hate Jewel Gnome so much. Why did they have to make its drop table so bad? So wow, it is windy outside. It's like the half wants to fall down. Let's see. We'll keep going from there. Take the yellow down. Grab that. 30 Furnace. Grab another Furnace, and it should be match. Yeah, something's definitely bumping up against the house. I have no clue what that is. Making some kind of rattling sound from the wind. Probably can't hear it on the mic. Anyways, if anyone still has any other questions or anything you want me to go over, let me know. Still got plenty of time, so if you guys want to chat about anything, still can. Going for at minimum another hour. I'm pretty sure we're going to be aiming at this point for level 96 by the end of the stream. And call it a stream at that point. But aim for level 96 Sentinel. Probably the game plan at this point. Are we being boarded by another house? Well, the houses are pretty close to where I live. But yeah, no, it's not that bad. But yeah, I could, if I tried throwing something out my window, like if I got a pole, I could touch the other house right now. Like if I got a broomstick, I could touch the other house. They are that close together. Not like right on top of each other, but it's pretty close. Ugh. Spread that down. Heal over and then just kill Sunbird. Okay, what do we need here? Let's go right into Firebomb. Seems to be the way we almost always need to go. Unless there's a direct way to try to get Sunbird to full mana. It is normally not worth going for anything else other than Firebomb immediately. Even there, no point in taking that 4 times per round. It's just going to slow down the overall battle. And just kill it with Imperial Jewel. But that reminds me, I'm not currently using controller for this, am I? Well, I'm definitely not. But that's not too big a deal. Controller does save some time on it, though. But mouse isn't really that much slower. Especially once you get used to using mouse for it. The only problem is with misclicking. Because controller makes it so you can't misclick some things. Okay, what do we need here? Let's see. It doesn't look like we have anything to cascade, so let's do that. Luckily, we get it right off the top there, and it was kill it out with Sunbird. Yeah, in Furnace, it feels like you're moving from mid-game to end game. Yeah, and Furnace is normally one of the better first crafts to go for. This has a lot going for it. 3 damage to all enemies per turn, best burn in the entire game. Firestorm into a good explosion. A bunch of damage off its ability that can't be blocked by Submerge. Plus it bypasses barrier slightly. Just has a lot of things going for it. And has one of the highest overall damage outputs in the game. When you're fighting things that have similar stats to you. Because of how good of a chance it has at regaining its mana, clearing the board, and getting its mana right back into another high damaging hit. Running Mountain Crusher, Moon Rabbit, and Furnace, and Leprechaun sounds pretty good. So normally you do want to use at least one additional damage source with your Infernus. But running him as your only damage source is fine to do. Like, if we go build something around the new Mythic, it's going to be Mountain Crusher, something, new Mythic and Furnace, or something like that. Like, we're going to need a second damage source rather than just that Mythic. Make it work. Also, there might be some question on if that new Mythic watch would be worth crafting instead of Furnace now. I still think it's going to be in Furnace for mainly 2 reasons. One is Infernus has better board clear. That will always be the case. It just destroys more gems than what the other one does. You could potentially end up exploding 36 gems. So on average, it'll probably be more like 30 because it has some overlap occasionally. But still, overall, it would explode more gems off the board than, or you know, it would clear more boards off the board than the other one will. Even though it's not necessarily more mana, it still clears more of the board. And other than that, it just has better damage output. Like a newer player or mid-game player might not need stun as much as it would need burn. Because of how much damage 12 damage per turn is. You know, 3 per each. Yeah, more often than not, you can get away with teams that run 1 damage source. But in almost every instance, you run with at least 2 damage sources. There are some very, very occasional instances where that is not the case, but rule of thumb is normally have at least 2 damage source. 2 damage source with 2 mana generators is generally the way to go. 1 board clear mana generator, 1 other one that has maybe a little bit more board control rather than board clear, and then just 2 damage sources is more often than not the way to go. Also, as far as damage sources are concerned, it's normally better to go for damage sources that have a chance of extra turning rather than damage sources that have no chance at all. So, for example, things like Infernus are pretty decent because there's a really decent chance of getting extra turn. Infernus, Wordbreaker, stuff like that. Whereas damage sources like Guard's Avatar and Stuna and other things like that, while they might come into play ever so occasionally, the biggest issue is they end their turn after they do their ability. And even though some of them, like Guard's Avatar, Ketris, can get a ridiculously high amount of damage down, they're not always necessarily used just because they automatically end their turn after they do their ability. Oh, is Infernus actually craftable this week? That's unfortunate, being slightly short. You'll be able to get him again in about, like, 9 weeks from now. Though at that point, you might be able to get the new Mythic within the drop table. Go for that instead. Depending on how far you are into the game, it might just be better getting the new Mythic rather than Infernus. Infernus does have better damage output though, and I would still overall say Infernus is probably the better between the two, especially as a first craft. But no, the next Mythic's still pretty good. It's just good in very different ways than how Infernus is. Even though they're really similar, they do have distinct differences. This late in the game, the new Mythic would probably be better, though, overall. The only real big downside to it, which we still don't know exactly how that'll pan out, is the new Mythic's going to be slower to use. Not just from a damage output perspective, but from a you have to figure out where and if you want to target perspective, which wastes time compared to just instant casting.
What is the current top 5 mythics to craft now? Infernus, Fairish Ra, sometimes the second Fairish Ra, High King Iron Gut, Possessed King, and everything from there is basically speculation. But depending on what you want. But yeah, it's basically Infernus, Fairish Ra, sometimes the second Fairish Ra, Iron Guts, and then Possessed King. Infernus you need as your first mythic just because it covers basically everything you ever need. It's a really well-rounded, high damage output troop. The Fairish Ra you need because if you're going to bother doing Dawnbringer grinding, you would want to have one. Possibly two, though you definitely want at least one. Because it will save you multiple upon multiple hours of soul grinding. A High King Iron Gut you want, as it's one of the best delve options, if not the best delve option in the entire game. And Possessed King you want for multiple reasons. One is it's required for 10-star Darkstone, which is currently the only 10-star Magic Kingdom in the game. It is also a insanely good troop to synergize with High King Iron Gut, because you can use his transform to make it so you can devour everything within delves. And High King Iron Gut into Possessed King is basically the strongest combo in all of delves. The only thing that would make it even stronger would be getting a Zugoff, but Zugoff is the hardest thing to obtain in the entire game, so it's not as realistic. But High King Iron Gut into Possessed King is. You could have that within about 6 months of playing the game. Even quicker if you get lucky off of drops and randomly get one from a key. But even if you don't randomly get one from a key, if you went first mythic High King Iron Gut and second mythic Possessed King, that wouldn't necessarily be horrible. And within 6 months or less, you would have the best delve combo in the entire game. And you would run that in most delves with Mountain Crusher, Apothecary, High King Iron Gut, Possessed King. And any delve that can run that would be basically the strongest team you could even run for delves, for the most part. And you could use similar in other delves, you would just have to make slight adjustments. Yeah, one mythic having Stone Skin is pretty big. 50% skull reduction is pretty helpful. The only big issue with this new mythic coming in, though, relative to Infernus, is the new mythic type has no mana starts. And what I mean by that is it is going to be a Daemon Elemental. And as soon as it comes out, there's going to be no way to give mana to Daemons or Elementals. However, that will change in a couple weeks from now. On May 17th, we are getting half mana start to Elementals, which will probably open up the new most overpowered team in the entire game, which is going to be something, Infernus, the new mythic that's coming out next, and then the troop that gives all elementals 50% mana start. Ideally, hero would be that, but currently we don't have an elemental hero. Actually, when are we getting elemental hero? But yeah, elementals are going to be like new meta in like 2 weeks, because once we get the 50% mana start on them, we're going to be able to make really strong teams using the new mythic with Infernus. We're missing an elemental hero class, though. When are we getting elemental hero? Where is it? Classes. Let me see. Are we getting an elemental hero class? Control fine, elemental. Oh, it's not coming up? Well, apparently no time soon. We are not getting an elemental hero class anytime soon, which is unfortunate. Never mind, that's not going to be possible, but there's some kind of other elemental out there that would probably work for. Oops, I meant to take red, not green. Whoops. Oh, what am I doing? I could just kill it with this. But still, something into 50% mana start elementals with Infernus with the new mythic. Gonna be pretty solid. It's almost going to be as strong as what ended up making Divines nerfed. Going to be kind of funny. We'll see exactly how it pans out. But yeah, next mythic definitely worth getting. Highly, highly advised trying for it. Regardless of what point you are in the game. Even if you're a brand new player. And it's going to be... that being your first mythic would actually be a pretty solid first mythic. Getting the Obsidian or whatever it's called. What was it called again? Probably remember its name. We're going to be needing to use it a lot.
Because while it might not necessarily be meta for too many things, it's going to be used for a lot of stuff here and there. Mainly PvP stuff. But, what was his name again? Obsidius. But yeah, Obsidius. Gonna be insanely good. Or who knows, maybe it might be new meta. Once we get half mana start on elementals, which is in a few weeks, it could start being new meta then. How do you get around barrier spam? Dispel, stun the things that can barrier spam, or mana drain them if it's off their ability, or stun them if it's off their trait. If you're referring to hero having it, since you can't normally stun it, the easiest way to do that is just transform the hero. Barrier does not have a means to transform. And unless they have Bless, should be able to easily get it down. You can also just curse it and use something like Essence of Evil against it. Yeah, Dispel Spam, Curse with Essence of Evil, or transforming it are your best options. It's becoming a really big issue for you. Oh no, he just got submerged. The most annoying thing to ever have to deal with an Explorer is a Undyne with a Submerge. Luckily, we just killed with skulls there. Let's see. Can you make a video about which low rarities to trait? Is it still viable? Probably, but there's a lot of good things now that are also worth trading. Some of the most viable low rarity things to trait these days are Sunbird, Firebomb, basically the same my team at the moment. Soothsayer. Actually, we could just go through that real quick. So I probably should do an updated video to it because we have gotten a lot of newer things. What I would consider low rarity is anything ultra rare and below, because all those require 3 arcanes or less. But as far as the full list of low rarity, let me just do it on base rarity. But yeah, I can go over that just real quick. It's not gonna take that long. But let's go down to ultra rare and below. Actually, we can get that real quick. There we go. Okay, so things that are worth trading, that are like really decent. So far none. Still none. Still none. Still none. Still none. Dragonian Monk. Egg Thief. First trait on Goblin Rocket and Giant Spider, though those are extremely cheap. Since you don't need to get it fully traded. Fully traded Herdmaster, just because it's one of your better cleanse option in early game. Doesn't gain much of a benefit from being fully traded, but it's just that one extra yellow will just give it a lot of extra boost. Night Coronet, though Night Coronet has been falling off recently with all the other options. Lava Elemental, Leprechaun 100% for sure. Manticore is one of your better imperviouses early on in the game, plus it's mana drain. Merlion, good silence option with impervious. Let's see. Wait, Nyx is ultra rare? I didn't realize that. Always thought it was epic. What other low rarity things are worth it? Spirit Fox for sure, with its mana drain and its immediate mana drain and true damage that has. Let's see. Anything else? I know there's at least several others. Wisp fully traded isn't bad. Alchemist for its second trait, though that's not fully traded. Anything of them that don't need to be fully traded don't actually need their, you don't actually use arcanes, which is the hardest part of actually doing on them. Cockatrice is insanely good fully traded. If you're running a 4x Dragon team, you normally want to get Dragatar fully traded and have it in like first slot or second slot. Probably second slot because your hero's Dragon Guard would be in first. Asp fully traded is quite amazing. 75% start into one of the best bleeds in the game. For how low of rarity is, it's actually insanely good. I was really hoping I'd be able to use that on my other account on Nintendo Switch, but unfortunately it doesn't exist on Nintendo Switch version. Yeah, it's a really, really good troop. Oh yeah, Miststalker fully traded. Though these days you'd probably just want to go for Asp instead. Asp is the better option between those two. So they're both still good. Every bounty troop, I haven't been mentioning it, but every bounty troop you want to get the first trade on them. Let's see, what other things? Sister Superior, fully traded. You only really use it for Bounty Hunter, but it's insanely good for Bounty Hunter. Doofsayer, fully traded. Stargazer, fully traded. Basically anything that's ultra rare below with Empowered, you want to fully trade. There's almost no exception to that. Some have better viability. Like, obviously, Spirit Fox is better than Stargazer, but still. You eventually want to get them all fully traded. Tagaraki fully traded, you probably want just because it's a really good bounty hunter option. Valkyrie fully traded because it's really good for soul gains plus blue accumulation. Let's see, and that's about all of them for the most part. And other than that, Firebomb and Direwolf, I guess. Firebomb because of its 1 explosion, and Direwolf because of its 20% dodge and 2 times skull damage, which does stack with Hunter's Mark for 4 times skull damage. Oh, Dwarven Gate as well. As far as commons, I believe it's just Direwolf, Dwarven Gate, and Firebomb. I don't believe any other commons were actually worth it other than those 3. So while it's not really that relevant these days, the cheapest stone skin in the entire game is Golem on his 2nd trait. That's not really that relevant because there's plenty of ultra rares that are way better with stone skin than him. Rock Spirit, Lava Elemental, Night Coronet, stuff like that. And the only other one is maybe, I guess, Wall of Bones. But yeah, that's pretty much the full list for the most part. May have missed like one or a few of them. But I just mentioned is basically the only ones you really need to bother with for the most part. Firebomb definitely being one of the bigger priorities. Anyways, where were we? Drexzoom, where are you? Farming here. Where do you farm gnomes for this weekend event? PvP or Explorer? You most likely want to do Explorer, though PvP is perfectly fine if you want to roll with PvP. You'd most likely want to do 1 trophy PvP or casual PvP, though, because it's a lot quicker. So you can repick casual PvP and just keep taking the really weak 1 trophy battles. But I would say Explorer overall. Get more battles more consistently. While you get less gold, it's still worth it. Hey, no problem, David. Also, hello, Ben. Welcome. And if anyone still has any other questions, let me know. Obsidius, Essence of Evil, Infernus, and New Legend. Yeah, that would end up working. Sounds like that would end up working. There's no hero class with elemental thingy. However, while no hero class counts as elemental, you could use something like Titan, which is already an insanely good hero class, and use its elemental bonus that it has. Every single hero class with Storm Tree gives elementals, all elementals on your team 1 magic per cast. And while your hero wouldn't benefit from that, the rest of your team would. And 1 extra magic to those 3 troops per cast is pretty decent. Particularly to Infernus and Obsidius. Particularly Infernus. That's basically 4 additional damage on Infernus. 3 to 4, depends how he targets. It's a maximum of 4 additional damage every 1 magic he gets. I mean, it's additional 4 extra damage for every magic he gets. Did I just say 4 extra magic for every magic he gets? I meant, yeah, I meant 4 extra damage every 1 magic he gets. Because he does 2 hits, which both gain 1 damage per magic. And then he also does half his damage to adjacents, which basically means an extra 1 damage each. That's a total of 4 additional per magic that he gets per every increase to his magic. And that's per cast as well, including his own cast. When you have that trait that gives you 1 magic every cast, which Titan has and a few others have. Though out of every hero class that currently has it, Titan is the best. You still don't have an elemental hero class though, unfortunately. So if they ever did add it, that is like super ultra meta at that point. But it doesn't look like we're getting one anytime soon. And by not anytime soon, we might not even be getting an elemental hero class this year. So we got a while. But for now, Titan would be perfectly fine for it. What do you think is the average amount of diamonds one gets per week? I calculated this out in the past, though. I believe it's several hundred. I forget the exact number these days. But I believe it's around 300 or so. Somewhere's around there. Around 300, give or take a little bit. Which is why it normally takes about 3 months to obtain a mythic. Because you get 150 per week from tasks. You get 20 per day for those 6 days, which is another 120. So that's what? That's 270 per week. Then you get 150 on Sunday. 70 from doing the battles, and 50 and 80 from doing the 50 gem thing, which you should always do every Sunday because it's totally worth it, which comes out to 150. That brings us to what? That brings us to 330 diamonds. And from there, you can go and the only way you could possibly gain more is another 20 by throwing 50 gems each day. Which, if you did that, that would cost you an extra 300 gems per week on top of what you already spend among other stuff. But if you were to do that, that would boost your 330 up to 450 gems, diamonds, I mean, per week. I mean, per week. And that's not counting gnome drops. During a gnome event, you could get about 5 to 10 diamonds per hour or so. And throughout a normal week without a gnome event, you probably get about 10 diamonds passively per week. That's not counting a few other methods that you might randomly get diamonds from. Like, I think a couple of the packs and other stuff have it. But yeah, it's basically 330 diamonds or so per week is what you should normally expect. That's basically the bare bones minimum. That's you doing all the tasks that give you... that's not even counting shards either. That's not even factoring in shards. But... yeah, that's basically 330 per week then. 150 from your guild each week. Well, I just did the math and I already forgot the thing. 150 from your guild each week. 120 from the dailies, not counting Sunday. 150 just from Sunday, counting the daily plus the 50 gems for it. And that right there just brings you all the way up to 330. And then the only other things you would need is that could boost it any further is randomly getting gnomes, the occasional other packs that sometimes have it, like for example, Power of Doom, I believe we get like a ever so small amount if you buy to like a certain pack. And there's other various pack things that sometimes have it, like for example, if we bought up to tier 6, we get like 50 diamonds, which isn't really that much, but you know, there's occasional things like that. Other than that, the only other things that really give it are like Vault Keys and treasure gnomes here and there. But yeah, 330 is what you can expect per week on average, I would say. Is the average amount of diamonds you'd most likely gain. Like the bare bones minimum you can expect is 330 per week. Because that's just doing, yeah, that's like the absolute bare minimum. That's dungeons every day. That's, which takes like a few minutes, they're really quick. Even in early game, they only take like 5-10 minutes or so once you get to the point where you can actually kill them with Mang and everything. But, all you have to do get 330 per week is do dungeons every day. Have your guild be decent enough that it gets to at least level 10 of every single task. You don't even need to complete out literally all the tasks, you just need to get to 10. And I was already doing that on Nintendo Switch on the second week, though we were one of the bigger guilds, but still, it's definitely pretty doable. And the only other thing you would need to do is throw 50 gems down on Sunday for the 80 diamond pack. And just doing those bare minimum things, which most of them pretty much just get done automatically. Like that's only like a half an hour time investment each week, pretty much, like the diamond amount, and that would give you 330 diamonds per week. That's pretty manageable, and that's what the bare minimum of what you can really expect for diamonds. Let's see. Also, what does that come out to? Let's just take that real quick. What is 4,000 divided by 330? Bare minimum. That means it would take, oh wait, is it that long? I didn't realize that. That's actually 4 months. Why do I always think it was more towards 3 months? I probably calculated it out for if you threw down diamonds every day, or threw down the gems for diamonds every day, I mean. Yeah, I only buy the Sunday one. It costs an extra 300 gems per week if you buy all the others. But yeah, it takes 12 weeks. Oh, wait, sorry, my bad. Why did I think that was something else? Never mind, it is 3 months. Never mind. Duh. What am I saying? Yeah, duh. 12 weeks is 3 months. Never mind, it is 3 months. That's why I always think it's 3 months, because it is 3 months. It's technically slightly more than 3 months, but you're going to get diamonds from a few other means. Like, you're going to randomly get gnomes. You're going to, all over the course of 3 months, have 3 vault events. And during those vault events, you're obviously going to gain some amount of diamonds. Even if you don't specifically get a vault off a vault key, like a 50 drop off a vault key or something, you're probably going to get like 5 drops and 2 drops off of normal gnomes and stuff like that. So, yeah, 3 months is generally how long it takes to get a mythic. Though it can be done in as little as 2.5 per mythic if you spent 50 gems each day on the little pack thingy. So that's normally not considered worth it. Even how late I am in the game, I don't bother with it. I did initially, but then I stopped because it seemed like it was burning through more gems than it was even worth. Maybe if you're still going for full completionist and you have a lot of spare gems still, it might be worth it. But like if you're still just trying to craft like those last like 5 or 6 minutes you need, it might be worth throwing 50 gems each day for it. But I don't know, just waiting a little bit longer, really that big a deal. You will never have enough diamonds. Actually, you will technically eventually have enough diamonds. We've reached a point where we have enough diamonds. We are currently sitting on... How many diamonds do we have? We have 40,656 diamonds. And technically more than that because we can, of course, craft all of our shards into diamonds if we really wanted to. Comes out to another 3,000. Wow, we almost have 1 mythic just in shards. That is insane. But we have 3,030. So we add that to that, and we have 43,000. Or wait, what was it again? You could actually have that up as we check it. We have 43,686 diamonds. Is how many diamonds we currently have. So that is almost 11 mythics. Yeah, we have no need for any of those diamonds. But you do eventually have a surplus of diamonds. However, the only time you'd ever have a surplus of diamonds is if you own literally every troop in the game. So obviously that takes a while. But it is technically possible to eventually have a surplus of diamonds. Because once you have every legend and mythic in the game, well, mainly every mythic in the game, because by the time you have every mythic in the game, you'll definitely have every legend, pretty much the mythic by then, or at least every legend, 1 copy of them. But, yeah, you do eventually reach a point where you technically don't need diamonds anymore. Because once you have every mythic, there's really not much to use them on. Of course, getting every mythic is ridiculously hard, and something that could take at minimum like a year, if not multiple years. So I think some people have managed to do it, or almost it, in about a year or so. Like, I think there's people that are only missing like 5 mythics or so who ended up doing that within a year. So you have to get really lucky on not getting repeats on drops if you do it like that. Normally it takes a little bit longer because diamonds are capped at how quickly you can obtain them. And as we just went over, normally you only get 1 free mythic craft per every 3 months. So it's only like 4 per year. However, you of course do get plenty of mythic drops off of key drops, of course. The only problem with key drop ones is sometimes you'll get repeats. This is one of the reasons why once you have more than half the mythics in the game, you always go for every new mythic. Because it's a 100% chance it's not a repeat. It's also why people were kind of upset when Spoils of War was nerfed. Because one thing that you could do in endgame is spend your ridiculous surplus of glory to convert them into event keys. And then you simply just use those event keys when a mythic came around that you didn't own. And then you would just get that mythic. Which isn't possible anymore. Now you can only do 10 event keys per week through that method. Which is why we bought it up like crazy. Not like I'll actually need it, but now we have like 5,000 something event keys in case we ever do need them for a similar purpose. How's our hero class doing? Level 93, almost level 94.
Okay, we'll take that for now. Get another Sunbird going. Go from there. You're only missing 8 mythics, and it'll take you like 2 years to craft the rest. Yeah, because you have to keep up with everything else. But, I don't know. You might randomly get one from a drop. But yeah, if you're trying to get all 8 of those simply by trying to craft them and not use event keys or anything, yeah, it might take that long. But you can try using event keys for them too, if you have a surplus of event keys. It only takes around 800 event keys or so, 800 to 1,000 or so. That's not guaranteed, of course, but somewhere around that amount would likely give you the mythic of any event that you do it on, assuming that you actually need it for that event. Right now is a McGrim Woods event. If you need the useless Wolf Garrick, you can technically use event keys right now to go and obtain them. Well, yeah, of course. If you're still going for 100% completion, it can be worth buying the diamonds every day. However, with how many new events have been added recently that end up using gems, I personally feel like it'd be better investing those 300 gems per week into events than it would be into an extra 120 diamonds per week. I don't know, some people might value the 120 diamonds per week. Even though that costs 50 gems per day, that comes out to what? How long would that take just off of those diamonds? If you did that 120 per week, that's what? That's 480 per month. Actually, why don't we just divide 120 by 4,000 divided by 120? Up system. 4,000 divided by 120. That's 33 weeks or so divided by 4. So basically, if you throw 50 gems every single day rather than just on Sunday, you would get an extra mythic every 8 or so months, 8 to 8.5 months. You would end up getting an extra mythic for free. Well, not for free. That would actually be really costly. Let's see, how long would that take? If you did that for 33... Sorry, wait, what do we have to multiply this by again? Oh, it's divided by 4, so times that by that. It was 33.3 repeating. Wait, how many days was it overall? You times this by 7, right? Yeah, you times this by 7. It was around 233 days. If you were to do that for 233 days, that would cost you, to craft one mythic, it would cost you 11,650 gems. I don't know. Is one mythic worth 11,650 gems? Actually, now that I put it like that, yeah, it's definitely not worth it then, is it? 11,650 gems. If I did that math right, that is a really, 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 really high amount of gems. Hey, we can actually double check that. 11,650. There's an easy way to check this. What's 4,000 divided by 20 times we can actually figure that out right now. What's exactly? What's 4,000 divided by 20 and then times that by 50? And that's the exact amount. Sorry, never mind. It's 10,000 gems. Okay, it's a little bit less than that. My bad. But yeah, it's 10,000 gems to craft a mythic that way. That is extremely expensive. You can get like 10 mythics if you just open... oh, maybe not you. Never mind. No, how many mythics could you get? Let's see. Divide that by 9, because that's how many gem keys you could open. 10,000 gems. Divide that by 9. Okay, never mind. That's only about one mythic. But you would get a bunch of other drops with it too, though. Other than just that one mythic. But it would be 1,111 event keys or so repeating. I mean, gem keys, my bad. But, okay, I guess it comes out to one mythic either way. But still, would you rather have one mythic, or would you rather have one mythic and, 1,000 other drops that are ultra rare and above? But yeah, I really don't feel like it's worth buying that 50 gem pack every day except on Sunday. It just doesn't seem worth it. But if you really wanted to go for 100% completion, I guess it's okay. Like, if you were missing less than 10 mythics, I guess it would be worth it.
Only hardcore YouTubers do live math on stream. Do we need to go get the math hat back out? We'll go bring the math hat back out. Guess we need more math. It'll improve our math skills. We must wear our math hats while we do math. Alright, we'll take that over, take that over. Throw Sunbird down. And it'll just go that and kill it out. Oops, let me get audio back. Come back, audio. We need you. Oh no. Everything's dropping off the table. So that reminds me, I need to organize my room. I have like things all over the place. You guys normally don't see the mess, but my room is so messy right now. Like my workspace is really clean. But like the rest of the room, it's like, no. Well, actually, it's not too bad. It's just some piles of stuff I haven't bothered organizing. I have no storage for it, so it just kind of sits there for now. Unless I just like shove it all in the closet. We got a dislike because of math? Does this stream have exactly one dislike? That's not too bad. Actually, what is the current ratio? Let's see. I normally don't even bother looking at like the likes, dislikes, or anything during the stream. I normally do check it after the fact just because, why not? But during the stream, I like never actually check it. Don't play an ad. Tried muting it. Did it not mute it? What's it doing? What's it doing? Stop playing ad. I think that was just for Game of Thrones as well. Let's see. Also, why is it not letting me even check it? There we go. Oh no, we did get a dislike. They disliked our math. Anyways, I'll throw Firebomb down. You need 4 of each for full completion? No. I don't think anyone in the entire game has 4 of every troop. Well, for one, there's literally 0 people that own 4 Zukov. There are people that own 2, though I don't think anyone owns 3 yet. And definitely no one owns 4. But no, there's no one who will ever own 4 of each. You would need a ridiculously absurd amount of loot to actually do that. And even if you did, the biggest thing that would be factoring you down is owning 4 Zugovs. That's near impossible. The closest anyone is, I believe, is 2.5 Zugovs. I'm pretty sure there is some amount of people trying to race to see who's going to be the first to own 4 Zugovs. I wouldn't be surprised. Could you imagine what a vanity team that would be, sending your defend team as 4 Zugovs? Because obviously you can only normally set 1 if you only have 1. So to be able to set a 4 Zugov defend team, you would have to have crafted 4 Zugovs. And it does take anywhere from like 6 months to a year to craft a Zugov, give or take. Let's see. You strive for 2 of each in case something ever gets buffed. Yeah, that makes sense. You do normally want to hold on to at least 2 of each. There are some things that do occasionally work well with 2. There's not too many of them, though, that you actually need 2 of. I think at the current moment in time, the only mythics that actually require 2 are, or that could theoretically work with 2, are Megavore, Queen Aurora, Possessed King, and what else? There isn't really that many. What is the list of every mythic that's actually viable with 2+? It's not too many of them at all. Oops, that's not what I want. I want it based on base rarity. But yeah, mythics that are worth having 2 of are... there's ever so occasionally some things where you can use 2 Arachnean Weavers. Let's see. 2 Alamagrim is the highest attack reduction you could ever really get. 2 Famines at one point was viable, though isn't really anymore. But no, as far as actual realistic owning 2, I believe the full list is Ketris the Bull, Megavore, Bearish Ra is probably like the absolute most noteworthy one to own more than one of. 2 or 3 of him is insanely good, particularly 2, but 3 is also decent. But it's pretty much just Ketris the Bull, Megavore, Bearish Ra. Kind of funny that they're all right next to each other. Queen Aurora, Possessed King, which unfortunately we don't have a second copy of. And that is pretty much it as far as mythics that are worth having 2 of. There's a few other like here or there that ever so occasionally you might use. Like for example, we kind of needed a double Arachne Weaver the other day, though it wasn't that big a deal that we didn't have it. Double Elamagrim is technically ridiculous attack reduction 8 per extra turn. And there's a few other like weird things that you could do too. But for the most part, those are like the only ones. Ketris the Bull, which you use for brown, red, and green Tower of Doom with Yasmin's Pride. Megavore, which you use for Delves with double Megavore. Though these days, I don't really know if it's really that viable now that you just run like Zugaf for everything now that they got buffed. So you don't really need to bother with that much anymore. However, it is an option if you don't own Zugaf. Bearish Ra, for probably the most obvious reason, he just greatly expedites the rate at which you get souls by excessively high amounts. And generally, out of every one that is worth having multiple of, he's the most noteworthy. Queen Aurora just because of mana accumulation, and Possessed King for the exact same reason, off of mana accumulation and a ridiculously high amount of board clear. 2 of him with Hero and something else is 5 explodes per extra turn, which is obviously insanely good. And you could even synergize that with a Wrath and get like 7 explodes per skull extra turn. Would also be pretty insane. Anyways, let's keep going. Farming these out. What 2 other troops go best with 2 Fairish Ras? Dragon Soul, Fairish Ra, Umberwolf, or Dragon Soul, Fairish Ra, any hero class with Purple Storm. Either of those 2 teams is the most optimal team you'd run for it. Technically, you would gain more overall value per hour running it with Hero using a Purple Storm. However, even though that would be more value, it is more souls per hour by running Umberwolf because you never need to worry about not having Storm. But the 1 extra EXP that you would get per battle with how quickly you would win the battles, you would normally want to go hero classes that have Purple Storm. Also, it's cheaper because you don't need to bother. Not only do you not need to own Umberwolf, you also don't need to trade him. You just use a hero with Purple Storm. However, you would have to level up a hero class far enough to have Purple Storm. But I believe Purple Storm comes out on level 20, so you don't really need to go that far in a hero class. Even if it comes out on level 40, that's still not that deep. Level 40 is pretty quick to go obtain on any hero class. Probably get that done in like a day or a few days. Definitely within a week. Oh yeah, it is ridiculously expensive to make first place in any event on the PC mobile, or basically any version other than the Nintendo Switch version. It is excessively expensive. It costs around anywhere from like 3,000 to like 6,000 gem these days to end up making first place on any platform that isn't Nintendo Switch. And even on Nintendo Switch, I believe it costs around normally around 1,200 to around 1,500 or so gems these days. Make first place. Somewhere around 1,000 to 1,500. Which isn't too bad because you get 700 gems back. Which, relative to the economy of the game, since inflation hasn't hit yet as badly. But, it's still a lot, given that there's not that many gems in circulation yet. Unless people bought them up. Tina does not need multiple copies. I guess technically you could roll with 2 Tinas. However, you would normally have some kind of other true damage instance that you could synergize with it. That would cover more colors, that'd be better. Like Arachne Weaver or really anything. Like anything that doesn't use the exact same colors. So it's fine to double up on it. Not a horrible combination using 2 of it into a brown accumulation method. Come on, 1000 glory or Volkey. 1000 glory. That's almost better than a Volkey. Also, what happened to our Volkeys? We've only gotten 1 this entire stream. However, we have gotten that 1000 drop like 3 times now, so that's basically like a Volkey, even though it's not directly a Volkey. Depending on how bad the Volkey drop is, 1000 glory is actually better, so can't really complain too much with a drop like that. It's the best drop that any gnome has, not counting a Volkey. And even then, it could still be better than a Volkey, so you're not really losing out. Yeah, Glory Gnome is insanely overpowered. It's amazing. Oh, good night, Starlight. Catch you later. There you go. We'll take that down for now. Grab herself a Firebomb down. We were into Sunbird. And we'll go from there. Also, I said I was going to go to level 96. I think we're actually going to go for the goal of 95 for now. And work more on it later. I do still want to try getting it done by the end of the day. If any one of you still have any other questions, let me know. Yeah, I think we'll go until we hit 95. And then we'll be back later tonight in 7 hours from now. It should take us another like 10 minutes or so to reach that. You just got Fallen Valdez from 1 gem key. The chance of that is 0.16. Actually, I can tell you the exact drop rate. Let me go get the exact link for it. We can get it down to the decimal right now. The chance of you getting a mythic, or specifically that mythic, or even just any one mythic, from a single gem key is... what am I looking for? Chess odds. What's her name again? Fallen Valdez. Hopefully if I type this in, it'll keep it as the hotkey thingy. The Fallen Valdez. Will it make a link for this? No, it will not. But the exact % chance of getting her from a chest is... Let's see, where to go? Where's gem chests? It is 0.00259% chance. Actually, let me just copy paste it. It would probably make more sense seen as a number. That is the specific chance that you would have gotten her. That's your chance that you would have gotten her, specifically. And the chance for a mythic off a gem key is 0.12% chance. But yeah, that decimal right there. 0.00259% chance is the chance you specifically would have gotten Fallen Valdez from a gem key in the current drop table. And of course, that just keeps getting lower the more mythics get added to the game. That you would specifically get her from a random gem key. So of course, the chance of getting a mythic is always the same. But the chance of specifically getting one specific mythic always keeps going down because there's more mythics that could drop. Thinking about luck, we almost got all of our arcanes for 350 base. Actually, maybe that should be the goal for the end of this stream. Haha. Let's see, how close are we on that, actually? Maybe that will be our goal. If we're close enough, might as well. We'll check real quick. Or we're definitely finishing that later tonight. Let's see. Or probably even before we even get into the next stream. Yeah, we just need 8 more. However, 8 more could take like literally 2 hours. Or even an entire hour, so never mind, we won't go for that yet. Yeah, we should be able to get that done tonight. Or even before next stream even starts. I think I'm heading for a walk after the stream. I haven't been walking as much because the weather has been kind of iffy here and there, but I don't know, it's starting to get nice even though it's pretty windy today. Like, it's actually warm outside. If I was to go step outside, it's just really windy. Which, if anything, actually feels pretty good when it's windy but warm. Okay, we'll go do that over. Grab Sunbird down. And it was Firebomb. Kill it. There should be enough damage. Okay, right here, let's go for Firebomb then. Get a Sunbird down. Instant kill. And should need about 20 more or so. Nap is going to outweigh the walk. No, I'll probably do both. If I do take a nap, it's going to be like really short. Probably like an hour or two. Ever noticed chances of Mythix from gem keys are not 10% more than glory keys as displayed on gem chests? Yeah, I believe it's slightly less actually. I believe it is actually 9 gem keys, if I'm not mistaken, or so. It's actually about the same thing as a gem key. Or actually, based on this website right here, the actual drop rate is 6 glory keys. Is... Oh, wait, never mind. But it has diminishing return, doesn't it? Never mind. I forgot. It has diminishing return on it. So, wait. How many... 7... Wait, why did... What? Hold up. Move that to 1. Why does it come out to 0 whenever I do it to 1? I'm confused. But yeah, it's something like 7 glory key. It's somewhere from like 6 to 9 glory keys or something. The equivalent drop rate from Mythix of 1 gem key. But yeah, it is not the equivalent. 10 glory keys actually has a better drop rate for a Mythic than 1 gem key does. Not by much, but it does have a higher drop rate for Mythics than 1 gem key. It's one of the other reasons why Glory Gnome is so ridiculously good. Because 1000 glory drop is 50 glory keys. Which is the legendary, which is the mythic drop rate of like 6 or so gem keys or so. Numbers around there. Wow, we're getting a lot of arcanes all of a sudden. I don't mind though, we need them. Oh, we kind of need them. We don't know if we need them yet. We're accumulating them for fun, but they're actually still up in the air on if we will or will not need them. All we know is a Tradestone Stink is coming sometime this year. 5,000 souls. Nice to see these gnomes constantly dropping their best drops. Gonna move that over, take the red, get a firebomb down. Your Sunbird in there. Hello, Liamar! Welcome. Yeah, Glory Gnomes are definitely the best. And again, another arcane. Nice. Yeah, Glories are pretty slow accumulating resource. Way quicker than it used to be, though. At one point, the max glory you could even gain per day was 16. Now you can basically gain infinite glory in a day. And during a Gnome event, you can theoretically obtain about upwards of 25,000 glory within a day. You could obtain like 25,000 to, if you get like ultra lucky, 50,000 glory in one single day now as like the absolute max. Realistically, it's more like 10,000 or so during a Gnome event. Depends how long you grind, obviously. But it comes out to like 1,000 to 1,500 per hour. We averaged it out earlier, and it actually is pretty close to 1,500 glory per hour is how much glory you get. Not even counting, not even if you do it in PvP, just if you're doing an Explore, it counts as about 1,500 glory per hour, which is the highest glory rate in the entire game, pretty much. But yeah, it's insanely good for glory, these Gnome events. And that's such a large difference to how it used to be. When glory first was added to the game, which was immediately, 16 per day was the limit. Then at some points later on, you could end up accumulating like maybe a few hundred per day at most or so. And now it is literally multiple thousand per hour, with easily over 10,000 per hour during something like a vault event. Even not during a vault event, you could probably get over 10,000 a day just from doing PvP if you did PvP for like 10 hours or so, 10 to 12 hours. Of course, you would have to do PvP for like 10 to 12 hours, but it's still possible. Obviously, Gnome events would be the more viable time to do it. Uh, 5,000 keys? What type of keys were you opening? You have to keep in mind that guild keys, when you're using them around 20,000 or so, they're basically like half a glory key. Glory keys normally take around 8,000 or so being opened until you get a mythic, somewhere around there. And gem keys around the same way, around 800 or so being opened until you get a mythic, somewhere around there. It can sometimes take even like 10,000 glory keys or about 1,000 gem keys to get a bit towards the unluckier side. And even that's not 100% guaranteed, though of course you can also get in shorter than that. But I don't know, it depends what keys you're specifically opening. If you open 5,000 gem keys and then get one, then yeah, that is ridiculously unlucky. Oh, speaking about unlucky, there's the opposite of unlucky. But if those were mainly glory keys, we could open 5,000 glory keys right now and have a really good chance of not getting a mythic. Anyways, let's go open our vault key. Well, so far we're up to 2 vault keys. I did say if we reach a third, I would give out another code, but I don't think we're going to be able to reach a third this time around. But we'll hand out another one tonight, though, regardless. But, I don't think we'll be able to get that third in. They'll probably stop once we hit our next level at level 95. Not sure how close we are on that. Wouldn't that be funny if we get a vault key from this? I will count that. If we get a vault key right now from this vault key, I will count that as the vault key. Nope. We never get vault keys from vault keys. But we've only ever gotten it once. But let's go open this orb and see what we get. Hopefully it's good, because most of those other drops are nothing other than maybe that 5 gem. Nope, another orange. We just can't stop getting oranges. We need to start selling oranges. Have like a whole fruit stand of oranges. So how are brown purples doing? Let's see. Brown purple is currently at needing 5 more lefts. Why do I keep clicking Dark Stone instead of Dark Zoom? That is like the second or third time I did that. Oh, so did we finish the event yet? I'm pretty sure we did. I would be really surprised if we haven't yet. But if we haven't, it's not that big a deal. We haven't needed to go out of our way for it. We've just been doing whatever kingdom we feel like doing at this point. We've never actually gone out of our way to do a different one. I think I'll double check real quick. I'm pretty sure we got the event done already, and if not, we should be like right on top of it. Let's see. Oh yeah, we're already way done with the event. And we didn't even do kingdoms that were specifically good for it. Well, I guess technically Pride Lands was, indirectly. But, yeah, I guess we actually were doing some kingdoms that were good for it. Without even trying to. Just because this was where we need our trait stones from. It's still got a while to go until we get every single hero class maxed out. Because of course we keep getting a new one every single month. However, I do throw a decent amount of gems at them normally each month to make sure that they just go down and don't take as long. But still, even with that factor, it ends up requiring a lot. If we break down the total amount of time left, I think we still have like 300 hours of hero class grinding in order to actually complete them all. Which obviously is a pretty substantial amount of time. And it just keeps going up with every new hero class that gets released if we're not actually grinding out some amount of time. Each hero class takes around 28 hours to max, not counting any gems that you might throw at it to get some free XP on it. Nor does that count class events or anything in general. But on average, it would take, if you can win 3 per minute, it's about 28 hours per hero class. They add a new hero class every month. Why do you think we'll get a new Gnome troop? Or when do you think? There's currently no plans for a new Gnome troop, to my understanding. However, that doesn't mean they won't release a new gnome. Eventually, they probably will again. However, as it currently appears, there does not appear to be any real gnome being scheduled anytime soon. But you never know, they might finally do another one. If they did another one, I feel like the next one would be something like an ingot gnome or a key gnome. Probably ingot gnome, because a key gnome might be too overpowered. Unless they made the drop table really underwhelming, at which point it would be not as fun. But, I don't know, it would be nice if we got both of those gnomes. Ingot gnome and a key gnome. Ingot gnome that would help us get more epic ingots over time. And or, you know, it would have more drops other than that, but it would help fill that gap a little bit. And a key gnome, you know, just having various keys, gold keys, glory keys, gem keys, event keys, obviously vault keys, and who knows, maybe even VIP keys. I highly doubt they would add VIP keys to it, though. But all the keys that are on the normal menu would probably have, other than seal keys. Other than seal keys and VIP keys would probably be the only two it wouldn't have. Hey, another gnome. Hey, that could be our Volkey. Don't leave yet. That could be the third Volkey. Would that be amazing if it was? That would actually be 1 per hour if that is a Volkey right now. Is it? No, it got us with a fake 1 gem key. I hate when it shows 1 and then key, because I always want it to be vault in between those words. Come on, 1 Volkey or 1,000 glory. 1,000 glory. That's basically a Volkey. Like our 4th or 5th 1,000 glory drop in 3 hours. Haven't been keeping track exactly. Another arcane, very nice. I think we just need 4 more now. Also, Zeddicus, thank you. You really didn't have to do that, but greatly appreciated.
Congrats on 3 years.
Thank you, Zeddicus. Actually, you've been the highest donator for a while now, haven't you? You're already the highest donator. And now you're even more so. Yeah, 325. Let me update that right now. But thanks again. Greatly appreciated. Let's see. I'll throw that down for now. We can get our skull out of it. And it was killed with splits. Okay, what do we need here? We'll grab all the purples. Sunbird it down. Well, I'm surprised Sentinel hasn't reached this level yet. Not too big a deal, though. Gonna be 100 eventually anyways. Well, thanks for that, Zeddicus. Gotta try my best. I've been needing to cover more guide videos. I've been a little bit lazy on that lately, honestly. But I do need to start getting on that again soon. But of course, we still do our streams and everything else. I've been pretty consistent with that for the most part. We haven't really missed too many of them. Let's see. Did Zugov get buffed? Yes. He was buffed in the most recent patch. It wasn't much of a buff, but it was enough to make him viable in some instances, most noteworthily being Delves. You thought he used to be only 1 cast? Yep, that was the change that he got. The change that he got in the most recent version of 4.3, probably one of the most noteworthy buffs that occurred in version 4.3, is they gave Zugov the removal of his 1 cast per battle aspect. So now you're able to cast as many Zugovs as you want within the course of a battle. So you can cast them 2 times, 3 times, 4 times. You're no longer just restricted to once. And obviously at 4 times, you probably won the battle by then. Normally, even after 2 times, you probably won the battle because he does instant kill and skull spam. But yeah, he's really good in Delves now. Because before, the main thing holding him back from Delves, even though he was technically usable in Delves already, the big thing holding him back was he only had 1 cast. but now you can multicast them. So if the first cast isn't enough to win out the battle, which normally it wouldn't be, you would then have a second or possibly even a third. And combining that with High King Iron Gut or just a lot of mana generation now makes it so he's basically one of the best delve options in the entire game due to that buff. You don't really use him for much else though. He's not really used for Guild Wars. He's not really used for PvP for the most part and stuff like that. He's pretty much almost exclusively just used for delves. However, you could technically, I guess, use it for Tower of Doom as well. Haven't bothered using him for that yet. Actually, I don't think we've had a Tower of Doom since I've actually obtained them. Not sure how viable that really is. Because you have to keep in mind, the Doom itself does have immune to instant kill, including Zugofs. But everything else would be able to die to it. But the only big issue is you wouldn't be able to kill the Doom with it. The reason why that didn't matter as much for High King Iron Gut is because it would have enough attack to basically 1 to 2 shot it. But that might be a little bit annoying if you're running a team completely based around Zugoff and then you have one single troop that can't actually die to Zugoff. Because scroll spam might not be enough if you're hitting like 70s against something that has like 800 something durability. Not going to work out that well. Yeah, Zugoff's almost exclusively just used for delves, but it is basically the meta for delves. The full troops in the entire game for delves are, from a mythic perspective, is High King Iron Gut, Possessed King, and Zugoff. Those three in any combination or, you know, using parts of them can solo any delve in the entire game. There isn't a single delve where you can't use one or the other. Either High King Iron Gut or Zugoff can be used in literally every delve in the game. There isn't a single one where that you are restricted from not being able to use either. Because every delve covers at least 2 colors, and between the 2 of them, they cover 5 colors, meaning it's impossible for a delve combination to ever have coloration that doesn't allow for either of them. One of them might not be usable, but one of the 2 will always be usable. You have 3 Orbs of Ascension, but don't know what to use it on. Are you towards earlier on in the game? You normally only ever want to use it to get things that are currently ascended to Legend up to Mythic. What specifically you use it on depends on a lot of factors. Depends on if you need them for Kingdom upgrades. Depends if you want it just to use it, like having a Mythic Sunbird, like getting a Legend Sunbird to Mythic, or something like that. But I don't know, it really just depends what you want to use it on. But you basically only use it for 2 things. If you directly need it for a Kingdom upgrade, or if you need it for something that's actually going to be a good troop. And as far as what would be a good troop, that really just depends on what you currently have upgraded, what you currently own, and what you feel like you actually want to use. And from a Kingdom upgrade perspective, it just depends what you need level 20 troops for. I forget at what point you start needing level 20. I think it's 8 stars, I believe. Actually, can't remember the actual level that you start needing level 20s, but at some point you start needing level 20 troops to upgrade Kingdoms. Also, one other thing that you can use them for is you can use Orb of Ascensions during events to save gems. For example, during something like an invasions or a raids, you just can buy up to... You buy the troop up to Legendary, and then you use a blue orb on it to save hundreds of gems so that you don't need to buy all the way up to Mythic. Orball and Sunbird is worth it if you're planning on doing something like this, or just using Sunbird a lot in general. It's only worth it if it's upgraded to Legendary, though. Don't do it any earlier than that. But if your Sunbird's currently Legendary, it is technically worth it to use an Orb of Ascension to get it to Mythic, if you're planning on doing it for, like, Gnome grinding, or just Explorer grinding in general. Like, if you're planning to use it for the exact purpose we're doing right now, and you currently have it to Legend, it is worth using an Orb to get it to Mythic. For the amount of time you'd save, it is worth it. It's one of the few things that's below Legendary rarity, like base Legendary, that you would actually bother using a small blue on. But as long as they're ascended to Legendary, that's the only real main thing that matters. Also, never, ever, ever use them on Delve troops. Ever. Because Delve troops you could just naturally get with shards. You're eventually going to have way more of a surplus of shards than you will of blue orbs. So I would not advise ever using blue orbs on hero classes. I mean... Oh, don't use them on hero classes either. But don't ever use blue orbs on delves, I meant to say. On the delve troops. What was my first? I have no clue what was the first thing we ever used a blue orb on. You have to keep in mind, we had a lot of stuff upgraded already. I have not the slightest clue what the first one would have been. Actually, I'm not even sure if my Let's Play account has used a blue orb yet. I've been hesitant to do so. The first thing I would probably use on my Let's Play account, if I was to do it on my Nintendo Switch account, I would probably use it on Sunbird, honestly. Except the only reason I haven't yet is my Sunbird's currently at Epic Rarity. Once I get it to Legend, I would orb it. But it really doesn't make much sense to double orb it. It's a waste of a orb. Also, early on in the game, you don't really bother doing it on the event troops. Later on in the game, you'll see me always do it. But earlier on in the game, it's just not worth the value to go and upgrade every event troop. The only reason I do it this late in the game is because we want to have everything maxed forever. And again, we get a gem key instead of a vault key. Quite unfortunate. But the only reason you ever see me using blues on like all the event troops, that's worth it in late game and further. But in early game and mid game, it's not worth it just because there's so many other things that you would want to get upgraded that are better. Well, for one thing, in early game, you probably would have almost nothing to use it on. In mid game, you want to throw it on actual options that would be useful for you, like a legendary Sunbird to Mythic, actual legends to Mythic, and stuff like that. And in late game, while you can start using them for all of the event stuff, you would also want to be making sure you use them to try to get kingdom upgrades. Because at that point, you'd be aiming for 10-star kingdoms and everything. Okay, I'll move that over. Get all of our reds there, and don't even need to follow up. He just dies off of that. And there we go. Yeah, does anyone else have any other questions? Or anything you want me to go over real quick? As we'll probably be ending out for now. In the very soon. The very soon. But we'll be back in 6.5 hours from now at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Mainly at this point, just trying to get to level 95 Sentinel. Main goal at the moment. And then ideally 100 by the end of tonight. That's fine if we're slightly off. Easily just get it done tomorrow if we really had to. As long as we get it done this weekend, that's the main thing that matters. There's no way we're leaving this weekend without it being maxed. So we should be able to get it done within the next day or so. Yeah, we'll take that over. Get another Sunbird going. But so far, pretty unlucky with vault keys. Vault keys have not been nice with us. Not only has our amount been kind of average, we're only at 2 so far, which is 1 every 90 minutes, which I guess is okay. But our drops from it have been pretty pitiful. We got double orange orbs already. Both keys end up giving us an orange orb, and we only end up getting like 15 gems and some other small drop from it or something. Also, Tina, I didn't even realize how annoying Tina actually is in this game mode. It doesn't have it for this battle, but oh yes it does. But it has 50% spell reduction. It has it on its second trait, so it normally has it. But yeah, I didn't even realize how annoying that actually is in Explore. Guess we just haven't seen her that often. But yeah, she's definitely being annoying today, that's for sure. She gets to survive more often than not. Kind of like that submerge trait, pretty much. Look at that, it's still alive. Luckily, it doesn't have any skull reduction, which they really should have given it skull reduction. But at least for us facing it, it's beneficial. That doesn't have skull reduction. After getting all kingdoms to level 10, what's the next thing to focus on? After getting kingdoms to level 10, you want to focus on getting 5-star all kingdoms. Well, actually, first thing before that, you want to try getting yourself into a good guild at that point. You want to make sure you can get your gold accumulation to enough that you get about 300,000 to 500,000 to even 1 million per week. And then try finding a guild that has a requirement that's within your range that you feel like doing per week, 300,000, 500,000, whatever it might be. Just find a guild that has that. Ideally, one that can complete out all tasks. But you definitely want to try finding a really good guild at that point. And from there, your main focus from a progression standpoint is you want to focus on getting level 5 all kingdoms. Things you want to focus on to do this is, if you haven't already, do the quest lines for every single kingdom. You want to focus on focusing on trait stones. Trait stones is going to be the biggest thing restricting you from getting various kingdoms upgraded to 5-star, because I believe you require having 7 troops from the kingdom traded. And while you can focus on the lower rarity stuff, you will run out of trait stones, arcanes in particular, very, very often. So trait stone farming off of like explore and stuff with like Sunbird teams and things tend to be one of your better methods. and going from there and just going from like kingdom to kingdom and trying to get 5 stars on all of them. Doing on whatever the event week is also ridiculously easy to do more often than not. Like for example, right now on PC Mobile and every version of the game other than Switch, it is a McGrim Woods event. So this week, since you can get a bunch of McGrim Woods event in the event key drop table, it's the easiest week to try getting like 5-star McGrim Woods if you wanted to, if it already isn't easy for you to do, since you'd be able to stock up on every single troop from the kingdom. Which is one of the big benefits of event keys. And you probably wouldn't even need to spend any gems on event keys either, because you can go get 10 off of Spoils of War, you can go get 12 this week off the event objective, you get all the ones from your guild, and you're also going to get a bunch from Gnomes this weekend, from either vault keys or from just doing battles. The stream just disconnected again. I think that's like the 5th time this stream we got like a mini disconnect. Yep, and this Ziplom already saying that it disconnected. Only went down for like 2 seconds. Okay, there we go. That should be our level. Boom, go. Nope. How close are we? We have to be within like 10 or something. Does it feel like the last 30 battles have been in range? Grab that. Let's see, where are we on it? Oh, that's not where you check. Watch it be like literally 1 away. Where's Titan? Not Titan. Where's Sentinel? I mean, the other Titan. The defensive Titan, the barrier Titan. Nope. Oh wow, that's actually still a good chunk. We still need, what is that? 16. Well, let's go do it. 16 more. Doing a Drock Zoom. Also, what's our arcane looking like right now? We end up reaching our other arbitrary goal. Almost 2 more away. Not sure if we'll get them right now, but we'll have them later for sure. I played Puzzle Quest this stream. Oh yeah, we played Puzzle Quest this stream for about like 2 minutes. Someone asked what was the game speed of Puzzle Quest, and we showed it. But yeah, someone asked a question about it earlier, so we ended up showing it on stream. I really hope Puzzle Quest 3 is coming sometime in the near future. Okay, we'll take that red. Sunbird, kill that. Grab a purple over. Grab the brown down and just take purple. And Sunbird wipe his team. There we go. Okay, 14 to go. And then we have another 5 levels. And then we can finally start using Sentinel. After all this time, Sentinel will finally be usable. We can finally have his immune to stun and everything. Because without that, Titan would always be technically tankier than him. Given that Death Mark would just be too annoying to deal with. What about Frost Mage? What about Frost Mage? Frost Mage is an okay hero class. It's probably top 5? The lower end of top 5. But it's still decent. The biggest issue Frost Mage Senta has is it has no real defensive options. It has a lot of good offensive options like freeze, explosions, and stuff like that. Which are more like supporting offensive options. But it doesn't really have much that keeps it alive is the only real big issue of Frost Mage. Or something like Titan has ridiculously good offense while also having ways of staying alive. It has the Tide at the highest amount of immunities any hero class has while also having really good damage options. Yeah, Frost Mage is really good for Guild War defends. That's probably the biggest thing that Frost Mage is used for, is Guild War defend days. And with how it is set up, you can use it for whatever days you want. And you can just basically set it to all the days you want freeze that you normally wouldn't have a freeze option. Like obviously something like Queen Mab or something would be one of your better freeze options. However, you just use Frost Mage instead and do it on any color day. Even on something like Red Day, a day that I believe has almost like 0 freeze options, or pretty close to it, you can just use Frost Mage and have a really solid freeze option for the enemy. What are the top 5 classes? Titan number 1, Thief number 2, and from there's multi-way ties, but the next 3 in no particular order would probably be Plague Lord, Sentinel, and the next choice would be really hard. I'd probably say Plague Lord, Sentinel, and then Frost Mage. Dragon Guard is pretty good. It'd probably place it around 6th or 7th. It's the best of any of the troops to have triple damage on burning. That's the biggest aspect it has going for it. The biggest thing it has going against it is dragons aren't that meta at the moment. Dragons do not have half mana start. It doesn't have half mana start in general. Like, even on the hero class, it doesn't have any way to start with half mana. And it doesn't have barrier spam like Sentinel does. Like, ever since Sentinel came in, you pretty much just use Sentinel instead of Dragon Guard. The only real exception to that is oh, what's it called? The only real exception to that is if you need the triple burning off of it, because he's still the most viable option for that. But they'll probably add another better one eventually, which will make Dragon Guard obsolete eventually. But yeah, it's Titan, then Thief, then Plague Lord, then Sentinel, then Frost Mage. I'd probably say is the order for top 5. With Titan and Thief being in a league of their own as far as how ridiculously good they are. Titan in particular, but Thief also. Thief basically does everything excellently that Titan doesn't. And they don't really have any overlap in functionality. So both of them to a degree are equally useful, since they're just used for different purposes. The biggest thing Thief has going for it is it has the highest amount of extra turn damage on any hero class. It has, even just in the entire game, it has the highest amount of single target extra turn spam in the entire game, since it can get 7 repeatedly on last slot. While some things might do more overall, it normally distributes the damage, like 10 to a random enemy or 3 to all enemies. They don't actually specifically target a specific enemy every time. But it has that. It has Stealthy. It has 7% instant kill every kill. It has a really good synergy with Skeleton Key, which is actually the weapon that comes from the hero class as well, which is also a pretty meta hero weapon in general right now. So one of the better weapons in the game, probably top 10 or so, somewhere around there. It has 30% scroll dodge. It has Hunter's Mark every extra turn. And I'm pretty sure it has like 1 or 2 other aspects I might have forgotten about. But it has a lot going for it. Of course, Titan's obvious ones are Barrier, half mana start, Explosion, or Enrage. Has the Tide at the highest amount of immunities in the game. And has really good elemental synergy, which at the moment is really only used for a team kind of like this, where you're like using 2 or 3 elementals. However, elementals are going to be super ridiculously meta in a few weeks. Next Mythic is one of the best elementals in the game, and we're getting half mana start on all elementals next faction. And there we go, level 95. Why did I click battle again? Well, I guess we'll do it, might as well. But let's go. Hey, is this a Volkey? Is this a Volkey? Hold up, is this a Volkey? That'd be amazing. No! That could have been a Volkey. What does Plague Lord do? Plague Lord is like Sentinel, except instead of the Sentinel, Plague Lord and Titan are very similar. Titan is the offensive version. Sentinel is the defensive version, for more so skulls and damage, or more so skulls. Whereas the Plague Lord is basically the defensive version, but it's the defensive version that is anti-cast. The main thing that Plague Lord has going for it is it has a lot of disease. It has 2 different disease options. Not only does it have disease every single time it, takes a green, I believe. Every single time it takes a green, it also has it every single time it takes an extra turn, and those do stack. Taking an extra turn green does do 2 diseases to the enemy, not 1. But the other things that it has going for, if you're not going to go with that, it has 20% spell reduction, which makes it even better against things like spells. It has a way of poking away the barrier on first slot, while Titan has something like this too. where it does it with extra turns. This can also do it just by simply taking purple. Still has the stun thing, still has the barrier every brown, which is always useful. Probably one of its bigger aspects that it tends to get used for, oddly enough, is Doomstorm. There's two basic aspects that this thing gets used for. Of course, it's like a normal barrier tank, similar to many of the other ones where it just gains barrier every single time. But two aspects that make it unique compared to the other ones is it has Doomstorm at start of battle, which works insanely good with Skull Spam teams, particularly Doom Skull Spam teams, but even just Skull Spam in general. And it also has just by default Disease, making it one of the better Disease options in the entire game. And while Disease isn't that big of an effect, when you can get it passively over time by doing almost nothing, it is a pretty decent effect. But yeah, I would say it is overall probably slightly better than Sentinel. It really just depends. There are instances where Sentinel first slot is insanely good, but Plague second slot it really just depends on your composition. But Plague second slot is sometimes better, or even Plague third slot. It really just depends which way you want to roll with it. If you're using Essence of Evil, you generally do want to go with Plague Lord. Similar to how Egg Thief is. I mean, similar to how Skeleton Key is. Plague Lord is somewhat similar to Thief class in that you do actually run it with your weapon, because it is pretty decent with the weapon it comes with. How long are we streaming today? We're pretty much ending right now, unless anyone else has any other questions. Hello, Steve! But as I mentioned, yeah, we'll be back in 6.5 hours from now, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we'll mainly just be going back on our grind and doing whatever other things we need to mess around with later tonight. Will Rowan be best Explorer team with 50% mana start? Well, it already has half mana start now, so that wouldn't really be much of a difference, unless the other troop does something really big, but I don't think it does. I can't even remember. I need to go double check it. But we already have half mana start for it. Forest Guardian, 50% to all beasts, and that is a beast. And keep in mind that doing Forest Guardian plus the other one will still be 50%. You cannot stack two 50% to make it 100%. The way that percents work is they just take the highest percent. So if you have a 50% and 75%, you'll just get 75%. If you have two 50%, you'll just get 50%. Having two 50%, like having a 50% to all beasts and having a 50% to all elementals, will still result in Sunbird just having 6 mana instead of 12. It will not give it the full amount of mana. So it still already has the exact same condition. That being an elemental would technically increase its damage, I guess. Because, for example, right now we'd have 3 elementals on the team instead of 2. So I guess that would ever so slightly increase Sunbird's damage. Like right now it'd be doing like, what, 2-3 more damage or something. But other than that, it wouldn't really be much of an improvement. But yes, actually, technically, yes. I guess we would replace this out then. Replace out Forest Guardian for the elemental, as it would give our Sunbird ever so slightly more damage. But hey, every single poke matters when you're doing Explore. 1 damage could be the difference between killing the battle or having to waste like 10 seconds to go finish the battle. So, yeah, it would help that team, but and it would be easier to get than Forest Guardian, because since it's from a delve, all you have to do is for like 1,000 shards or less. You'll probably end up getting a copy of the legend. It'll still cost just as much to trait, but you can just use trait the first one and then use 2 orange orbs and get it that way. Go from there. But anyways, guys, I'll catch all of you later. Thanks so much for stopping by. Hope you all have good luck with farming the vault keys. I'll be doing some off stream, and hopefully we'll be able to get Sentinel to level 100 very soon. And then once we get that to level 100, we'll be focusing on getting, oh, what were we going to get to level 70? We were going to try getting something to level 70 today, or this weekend. Actually, completely forgot what that was now. Hold up. Wait. I was going to get Sentinel to 100, and there was something I wanted to get to 70. Was it Shaman? No, it couldn't have been Shaman. I think it was Warden, actually. Oh, yeah, I think I was going to do, oh, yeah, it was definitely Warden. Because one thing I actually want to start doing is doing Warden as my Explorer, because as I mentioned, we're getting half mana start for Elemental soon. So I want to use Forest Guardian while it's the only option we have. So that we have Warden maxed by the time, ideally, by the time that 50% mana start comes out for Elementals. I don't think we'll actually have it maxed by then, but I want to at least get a decent amount of progress on Warden, because we're not really going to be using Forest Guardian for that team anymore starting in a couple weeks. We're going to be using that new Elemental half mana start instead. So I want to get all the farming with Forest Guardian down, because Warden can be used in this team to gain half mana start, because Warden is a beast, and of course this gives half mana to all beasts, so it would make sense to use it in that context. After we finish out Sentinel, we'll be focusing on doing Warden, and ideally we'll get that maxed, ideally before the next half mana start, which I believe is on the 19th. It's 3 Fridays from now. I forget the exact date. think it was the 19th, if I'm not mistaken. Let me actually go check real quick. The date that troop is coming out, the half mana elemental guy, is on, and it's technically new meta for, yeah, May 17th is actually the day. And that's going to be new meta for Explorer. It's not much better, but you replace out Forest Guardian with the new elemental troop, which will give you 3 elementals instead of 2. But, or 4 if you're using Rowan instead of Hero. Though normally you would be not using that. You'd just be using Hero, obviously. But, yeah, we'll have that very soon. So I do want to get that the Warden grind down with Forest Guardian before we get that. It's going to be from the new faction coming out on the 17th is where that's coming from. Anyways, guys, I'll be heading out for now. Thank you so much for stopping by. Hope you all have a wonderful weekend. Leave a like if you enjoyed the stream, and I will catch you all here later. And thanks again, Zeddicus, for the donation. Greatly appreciated. Goodbye, everyone.